I'd like to make a suggestion as a courtesy to the Little Red Riders. I would suggest considering making a motion to suspend the rules and move item number 17 to position number 3. This would allow the board to act on this agenda item out of order. All right. We'll call Carolyn.
Here.
Tom. Bob.
Here.
Rod.
Here.
Tom is missing, but we do still have a quorum.
So we want to move, I believe we need to vote on that though, to move 17 up to 3.
I make a motion to move 17
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Move it up. Number 17, do we have a representative here from the Little Rose Snowmobile Club?
Yes.
If you could just go up to the podium, please. Thank you.
I'm Jamie Greenberg with the Little Snowmobile Club. We are wondering if we can get permission to travel Marsh Road again this winter. We come every year, just make sure there's no trouble. Has there been any trouble this last year?
I think we've had kind of one person that kind of has been here and complained, and I think, did you meet with her?
Oh, a few years ago.
Someone did.
A few years ago I did, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess I haven't heard much of anything this past winter,
Okay.
so,
We usually have like one rider or somebody that goes over there that does, doesn't kind of follow the rules or whatever and goes off on the private property a little bit, but that's usually about it.
There's a couple of bad apples.
Yes.
yeah. No, I don't think I have heard of any. I haven't.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We need a
So
motion.
you want to make a motion for the Little Rose Riders Snowmobile Club to use Marsh Road?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? You have permission to use it again.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for moving me up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Have a good
yeah.
evening.
Just keep your fellas in line, okay?
Good night.
Comments from the visitors?
Can I get a few minutes?
Mhm.
Yes.
Good. Hello all, my name is Tom Seibert and I'm your Marathon County Supervisor. And just some things that are going on in the county. A big one is parks. They want to spend all kinds of money at Marathon Park, putting in all kinds of stuff for the Wausau City residents. And nothing in this part of the county. I mean, where's our closest park? If we want to use a boat landing, we gotta pay to use the landing, and they've got free this, free that. So we're kinda, I think we're getting enough votes to sway some of that money out of that Wausau area. And the same issue up there is the highway department wants to move from where they're at. If you know where they're at, they're right behind Marathon County Park. They own probably more land. Marathon County Park wants to take that over and put in racquetball courts, put in all different kinds of stuff. So, I mean, we just gotta stay on top of that. So if you see that coming, call up Kurt Gibbs and complain. The next thing is they're talking about putting bike lanes on the county roads. Now, I'm not sure if we're in favor. I mean, if they do it equally, give us as many bike lanes as they do up there, I'd be in favor of it. But if they're not gonna give us equal, I'm not in favor of it. So that's something that we gotta be aware of. Garbage. I'm on the solid waste department, and I think in the next 4 or 5 years, garbage collection is gonna go up tremendously because of PFOS and PIFOS. Some of you, I'm sure, heard of it, some haven't. The feds and the state doesn't even have what they're gonna do with it, or how to keep it out, or how to keep it, but a lot of drinking water has been found with it in. They have no idea what it does to the body. But that's, if the solid waste department has to put in scrubbers and all that kind of stuff, it's gonna get passed on to the homeowner. So, I mean, that's something to keep aware of.
So you're suggesting that that'll be in the tipping fees then for the garbage?
It's gonna be in the dumping fees. I mean, they're gonna have to raise that to take care of it, you know? And, who's ever testing, some wells, or Marshfield, some wells had it, some wells didn't. But they can't even agree on a limit of what they're gonna allow and what they're not gonna allow. So, that's something. The next is, I'm also on the Board of Adjustment. We've had quite a few cases from McMillan that came through the Board of Adjustment, and we voted in favor of whatever the town wanted. Usually, my opinion is if the town wants it, I'm gonna vote yes. If the town doesn't want it, I'm gonna vote no. They should have, the town, you guys should have the say of what comes into your township and what is allowed. And, you know, I think sometimes zoning likes to take charge of some of that stuff and keep you out. Airport, our airport is down to 5 flights a day. And it's not because of lack of customers, it's because the airlines will not give us more flights. A lot of businesses in our area, a lot of businesses in the Wallace area can't find empty seats to fly business. So the airport's trying to fix that kind of stuff up.
Are you talking about central Wisconsin?
Central Wisconsin.
Because there's a downtown airport also.
Central Wisconsin. And then take interest in your libraries and what your libraries are allowing your kids to read. I know the Marathon County, I'm not, the school libraries, they found several of these books in the school libraries. The name of the book is Gender Queer. If anybody wants to research that, go to Marathon County Public Library, type in Gender Queer, and you're gonna be appalled at what's in this book. And this book is aimed at teenagers and preteens. So take a look at that. ATVs, town today had some troubles with signs being stolen. So we put the word out, you keep stealing signs, they're gonna be closed to ATVs. The signs, for some miracle, were all put back up. So, I mean, and they were put in the exact same spot they were stolen from, so. So, that's all I have. If you need anything, my number is in the
I
county.
have a question. In the record review, they said that the budget for highway this next year is going to be, for the county, is going to be $330,000 short.
Mhm.
And they want the townships to possibly take on county roads?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, because that's what was listed.
And I'm on that committee, and I haven't heard anything about
Okay.
that. There's been a little bit of blowing about raising that $25 license fee, but I'm against that.
Mhm.
And the simple reason why I'm against that is they raised that 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and that money was supposed to go towards roads. Well, it went towards roads, but then they took that much money away.
Mhm.
So if they would have left that money where it was supposed to be, they wouldn't have a problem now. So, thank you. If you need something, look me up in the book, Tom Saber, give me a call. Thank you.
One more thing on the road
Okay.
signs. We actually have road signs that are disappearing. Not our ATV signs are staying there, but our road signs are
That's what ours was. Put out the word. We had more people at that meeting when we were gonna shut them down than we've ever had at a meeting. So the people, and if you get the people, I'm sure somebody knows who's doing it, and if it comes to that point, they'll follow.
So you've had stop signs and stuff disappear?
More bridge signs,
Okay.
more guardrail signs, more bridges ahead, more bridge signs. And one guy emailed the clerk and said, oh, he found the signs laying in 6 feet of water in the flowage. As green as that is, how can you see a sign laying in 6 feet of water?
I didn't get it out.
Yes. So they got they put it back in. They put it back where it was, so it's just a thought. Threats sometimes do wonders. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, George?
Up there, right?
Yes, please.
Before I go up there, do I get the same amount of time that Tom Schreiber has?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, my first thing is, my topic is all things McMillan, that should cover things. I want to know, do you have the state statute that you would have to talk to the attorney about one topic in 3 minutes and all this other stuff?
No, I have not had time to last month.
Is there such an animal as that statute, or is you just blowing smoke up my ass? I'm asking you, is there really such an animal?
Well, there's a statute that says that the time limit can be put
Well,
on.
wouldn't you think though, that as popular as I am with YouTube, that you would have found out what the statute is, so you could tell me? Obviously not, must not be important. And the next thing is my open records request. Where are they?
I haven't received any open records requests from
You gotta talk louder. I'm hard of hearing, I keep telling you people, and you bubble.
I have not received any open records requests from you. If you can submit it to me,
Well,
I'm happy that.
what their face did, right in front of all you people. Remember?
No.
You don't remember? It was right during the meeting, for Christ's sake.
Okay.
So what did she do, eat it?
I don't know.
I don't either. And at the annual meeting, remember, you guys were there, right? Remember, the attorney said 10 to 14 working days. We're going on over 3 months now. This ain't right, that ain't right. I know I'm not a popular person with you people, maybe that has something to do with it. So be it.
If you want to make a request, feel free to send it to me and I'll work on it.
You what?
Feel free to send it to me and I'll work on it.
Just because we have a new clerk, John, doesn't mean that our open record requests go away. They're still out there.
I know, there's no records of it. If you can send me the records, I'm happy to
He
work on
wrote
it.
it down at a meeting and handed it to Tanya. Am I right, Bob?
Okay.
I believe you were here.
I don't remember.
Yeah. It was. Watch the tape. Watch the tape.
Right during the
yeah.
meeting, I even asked, I says, can I go hand that to her now? And Bauer, you said yeah, so I went over there and I handed it to her. And I says to her, is it legible? Can you read it? And she said yes. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't know, maybe she ate it. Okay, the next thing is, last month's meeting, what do you call it? Red Hawk was a big topic of conversation. Did either one of you talk to Wendell's about being here at that meeting? Why not? You must have talked to O'Brien's. They were here.
No,
They
all
were
I
here.
did was, I have gotten all these letters. I haven't talked to anybody.
Why would O'Brien's be here if somebody didn't talk to them? Because they're not here now, right? We're O'Brien-less.
Yeah, she said because she couldn't stand to come back.
Who
That's
couldn't
what
stand
she
to come
called
back?
me today. Kay O'Brien.
Yeah, right, how come? Why is that?
She said, I can't stand it anymore, so I'm not coming back. I'm telling you.
Well, that's fine, I mean, her prerogative, I mean, that's
Well,
fine.
exactly,
I'm just
it is.
asking, seeing how Eric and Tabitha Wendell were the topic of conversation about this property, about the noise and blah, 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 all this stuff. Why, you as a chairman, why didn't you let them know that the meeting was going to be centered around them?
I did. I did talk to them on it. The only thing that, and because I have talked to them after the meeting, I talked to them on it, and I guess with them, I did not make it clear that their topic of discussion was going to come up. The reason it was moved, and the way that it had been brought to me, was an individual that said, can I, in the topic of visitors and public comment, can I have it in there? And I said, yes, but it's gonna probably go over 3 minutes, so then we'll make it a topic of discussion, and then it can go over 3 minutes. And that's the way that it got on the agenda for what it was.
But then you never notified them to let them know that that's when it was going to be last month's meeting, right?
No. I did not retouch base with them.
See, that's one of the problems I have with the YouTube. I mean, this cronyism stuff that you're picking and choosing favorites. I mean, this is
That's
bull.
baloney.
Don't interrupt me, I got my 3 minutes.
I'm sorry. You're
I'm sorry,
out of
too.
line.
That's what you guys are doing. You got your favorites, the crony business. This is wrong. You guys are supposed to represent everybody in this township. And you're not. You're picking and choosing friends. That's wrong. Don't try to stare me down. It ain't gonna work. Oh, that was the next one. Okay, my final, and you're gonna really love this one, is if the two of you can't represent all the residents of this township, why don't you resign and get somebody in here that does? And I really, really believe in that. Thanks for the extra time.
Next. Anyone else? All right, since there's no one else, let's move on. Plan Commission, Dorothy.
We have approve your minutes.
Minutes first.
I make a motion to approve the minutes
Second.
in July 11th.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for July 11th, 2022. Any further discussion on that? Since there is none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Minutes approved. Now, Dorothy, sorry.
Okay, at our last plan commission meeting, we had a rezone for Tammy and Gus Wenzel. They're exchanging some property with Bruce and Chris Seehafer. They had frontage road where they're buying on Highway E. It went north and south, and they preferred to take the same amount of property, only they will swap land with the Seehafers. It protects their wellhead, and they also, it's going to go to rural residential instead of just rural just rural. And, but like I said, it basically was just a land swap, same amount of acreage, so the Seehafers continue to stay in farmland preservation. They intend to put a shed up. They're going to still board dogs, same as what they have done down there, so they're gonna have to go through the conditional use permit for that. But everything was okayed by the plan commission, and we're still kind of looking at what to do with the ordinances, to work with the checklist, to make it simpler, because the county would like to see it cleaned up and made simpler. So if and when we do get another subdivision, it goes smoother than what it did.
We'd all appreciate that one. Thank you, Dorothy. Any questions?
So for this, we have to have a resolution yet.
Pardon?
That should be 16.
Okay.
Yes, that is your
Okay.
resolution.
Okay.
Okay. Garbage, Bob?
This is the summer of garbage can wrecks. I've got 4 this month, I had 4 the last month, so it seems like garbage cans are a target of vehicles or I don't know what, so, it just seems like a big summer this summer, so, if people are having issues with garbage cans, we're trying to get them replaced, but it's typically, Waste Management's taken 10 to 14 days to get new cans and get them delivered to those people, so I've taken a number of calls, people have had to go over to their site and bring their garbage if they had to, because it just takes 2 weeks to get a can, so. Anyway, if you know anybody that's gonna need one, try to get in touch with me and make sure they understand that it's gonna take a little time to get them, it's not something you can do overnight. The tire recycling back in April, they said they reclaimed 47
47 tons.
of tires. I remember what we did the year before. before. It was in a little lower than that, so I think this was a higher year. So that'll be again next year, end of April. So that's
And
all.
I think we are on the list.
Hosting list?
Hosting list next year with Town of Marshfield.
That's all I got.
It'll still be down there, Pancras Trucking.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
John, were you able to keep track of the library at all, or anything that,
No, I didn't go to the meeting, I resigned.
I understand that, I just, sometimes things keep coming in the email or whatever, and
No, I
something
don't have
that
any-
came in.
No library updates from me.
Okay. Buildings and grounds, Mrs. Opitz?
We have 18 scheduled for rentals this year. 12 have been completed. We need to get refunds for the last 3. The grounds are looking great. It looks beautiful out there. Casey's going to bring in some new sand for the playground and the sandbox. A new volleyball net has been ordered, but they're getting very slow response in getting it to them. Dan O'Donnell is having trouble getting to the pavilion to set the timer. I've called him multiple times. He tells me he has too many calls. Then he called, we had an appointment, he was sick. Today, I called him again, and so we're meeting tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, finally, so we can get that done. Have had some problems with the air conditioner, but the, Mr. Steeney was here, he put more Freon in it, but he's been out twice because we had so much condensation that there was water running across the floor. But we think we've got that remedy now. Because if he said if we just leave the air on, not on automatic, and we haven't had any trouble since, so that seems to be working. We did a, this isn't really, it really isn't under buildings and grounds, but Tom and I were asked to do fence viewing. Can I report on that, even though we don't have it on the agenda?
Just a report, no action needs to be taken?
No action, no. I
Then you
just
can do
wanted
it
to
underneath your-
report on it.
You can do it under your report.
Tom and I met with the Christensens, Mr. Glick, and Mr. Dalkey. And the dispute was, after discussion, the dispute was settled. The whole thing that came out of it was there needed to have been better communication. But Mr. Dalkey did agree to pay $1,200 to both Christensens and to Mr. Glick. The fence was $5,000, and per state statutes, when a fence is shared like that, then the law is that both sides of the fence have to participate. So that one, it was a nice day. We stood outside, observed the fence and what have you. It was a very, very good meeting. The other thing is the newsletter is ready to go, but we're gonna need, Nicole was kind enough to help me with how to do this, getting the list. Now, apparently, what is it called? It's called some kind of sharing. I don't know. She said this is what it's all about, where that she puts they print out the newsletter, she puts it together, and
She is a Jackie at Quick Print.
yes. She's, what a doll. Yeah, she gets it all ready to go. But as Nicole alerted me, the bulk mailing guy was gone today, so I couldn't get a hold of him. Because you said the money, there wasn't gonna be enough money. So, he's gonna call me tomorrow and let me know. But we may have to contribute more money to get these things sold. I mean, sent out.
Because of the increase in the postal rate?
There is no money left in the postal box from when I mailed the last 2 mailings. It's $5 is left in there.
Okay. How is
You
it?
mail like maybe
750. There's 750 is what Jackie said they print.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
I have no
How
idea.
much is that gonna run?
Yeah,
would it be an option to, because you typically mail these before the Fall Fest, right? That's typically when they go out.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's worth it just posting it on the internet and then whoever wants to sign up can sign up for a physical mailing to save on postage. Might be an option. I don't know.
What I would do is go and make your motion to put $500 at the post office so that you can get these mailed. Approve a check so you can get that done. Then you take it down to the post
Have we
office.
always done it that way?
I did.
Put that much money and put money into the
You're gonna
post
use
office
it, if
like
you don't use
this?
it this year, you'll use it next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's always there for your newsletters.
And I
So-
think it's 55 cents. I know it just went up right before I did the last
Yeah,
mailing.
I think up to
55 or 56,
Yeah.
something goofy.
Yeah.
58, I
That's for
think now.
example,
I
this
think
is
it's
bulk
58
mail.
now.
Bulk milk's a little cheaper, but not
I
much.
think it went up though from what it was at. I can't remember, but yeah.
So it's like having money on an account.
Right.
And then you just use it when you need it, and then that's why you fill out that form that I was telling you
But
about.
we don't have it on the agenda
You
because
can do it
I,
under clerk's reports.
Put it under your checks. Did you have the postage number printed on the newsletters?
I don't know what she said she would take care. I gave her all the, articles that were to go in there and she said she'd take care of the rest, so I don't.
Is
She
there
said
any-
she has all the information, so I'm hoping it's there.
Yeah, 'cause you have to have our number on there,
Mhm.
so, for the bulk postage, so.
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean, if you don't want to do 500, do 300, you know, if it's over 300, pick up the tab, so. Bulk
so
mailing is
500
what-
is what you've done in the past? We've done?
I've never had to put money in there.
That's what we normally put in there, was $500. If you got some left, you got it for spring. It ain't a big deal. You're talking a lousy couple $100.
Jeannie?
Is it an option going forward, like to maybe put in this newsletter, anyone who would like to receive the newsletter electronically? I mean, this is 2022. Getting a paper newsletter is kind of unusual. And we could save that money if that's a approved statutory thing to do. I think it definitely, you could put in this newsletter if going forward you'd be interested in receiving an electronic newsletter to save, you know, potentially hundreds of dollars of postage. I mean, it is 2022, people. I think that would be reasonable.
Well, our IT guru over here, is it possible?
John's like, really?
Yeah, I sent out the agendas to many people in the audience already. I've
Okay,
got 15
okay.
people on my mailing list already.
Okay.
Big shout out to mailing
In
list.
today's
Didn't you
day
put
and
that
age,
on the website anyway? So those that want to read it on the website, they can?
I'm not sure if it's on townofmcmillan.com, it's on my
I
website.
thought it was.
Yeah, probably. Otherwise, I can put it up on,
I had the guy put something on there, I don't remember what it was.
okay, yeah, I can put it on both websites and hopefully we'll, be getting the .gov website soon. It's still pending approval with,
Did that .gov thing go through?
we're still waiting on the .gov people. We got all of our stuff sent in, so they're just waiting to approve it.
So,
Or the flip side of that is so you don't put maybe so much onus on people saying, yes, electronically is fine, you could put in there, going forward, if you wish to receive a paper copy, please call, mail, send, whatever, and then you're gonna get a whole lot, you're gonna have a whole lot less postage.
Yeah, I was just trying to think to myself, to get to the point of just, it's by exception that you get it hard copy, you have to have people's email addresses to electronically mail it.
Well, or if the website is an option, if that's an option, then you put it in the newsletter, in the hard copy newsletter that everyone's getting. If you can provide direction on where they could, read the newsletter.
So I think the tough part about that is most people don't go to the website frequently, so I think it would be good, I agree with Bob, I don't know how we get
I'm
everyone.
thinking we should have on this newsletter. Like on the,
It's ready
on
to
the
go.
bottom of,
Sorry.
Yes.
it's already printed,
It's already printed.
700 copies.
Oh,
talking about it for them.
Well, that's for.
Well, because we have to have money
Put it on toilet paper.
to mail it. So,
Well, if you got 700 copies printed at 55 cents a piece, it's $412.
I think it's cheaper than that. It's bulk mailing, so it's usually less than that, depending on how many pages you
with the
have.
bulk,
They give you a break because
yeah.
You could put like a sticker, like the Avery address labels, we could put something, like, I can type something
Then
on
you gotta
there.
buy a sticker.
Here's a thought.
We've got a whole bunch of stickers.
Here's a thought. It's a quarterly newsletter. Mail this one. Put your money into your mail account. The next one, put it in there. You got time to get it done.
Amen.
Good idea.
I like the idea of having like a sign-up sheet at the Fall Fest, that's a good idea.
That works
We can kind of like do it like on
Oh,
an
yeah.
ongoing basis.
Put
I'll put it next to the big
Then
ones.
everybody gets
We're not
it.
gonna
Or
solve
when
it
people
tonight,
vote,
we're gonna have to
we'll
figure out a
Yeah,
method.
yeah.
Okay,
We don't have a raffle license.
Well, let's beat this subject to death some more, what the hell?
so,
it's called conversation and discussion.
So we get a table of motion until the check thing?
I'm sorry, what?
We just let it go until the checks come, we approve them and
Yeah,
put it in
I'll
there.
put that on the end of the checks.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Ms. Schultz?
No, that's it.
All right, highway, Tom's not here tonight, but I do have a few things to add in, I guess. They have, obviously, everybody's realized they've started the Highway 97 project. They told us it'll be 60 days from the beginning to the end. They started August 1st was their first official day. Be planning for Galvin intersection down here to be closed for 5 days. Also, the Stod crossing will be closed for 5 days. They've told us that it will be only 5 days. That's all the state has allowed the workers to have it closed for. So when it starts, and they basically say it'll start on a Monday and end on a Friday, because they want all of the work days in there.
Unless there's a rain day in there.
Yes, unless there's rain days, and then that will extend it 1 day. Yes?
Did they give you a date on that yet, or what days it will be closed?
No, that they have not. That may be coming tomorrow.
Will they do
But not
both
yet.
of them at the same time?
No, it'll be one and then the other. They assured me that, because I said we need to cross for stuff, and they said it'll only be one at a time. And we'll try to get it, as soon as I find out, we'll try to get it on the website. They did say today that I did get an email, the power light at the T intersection is going to be taken down tomorrow morning. Also, the bridge, that will be a project-long deal. They're gonna be doing one half of the bridge, and then they're doing the other half of the bridge, so that will be all the way up to October or whatever, 15th or whatever it ends up being. But that'll be the whole, you'll be waiting there for the whole time. I think that's pretty much on that. We got the Galvin ditch down here taken care of, and also we've started Winterberry. We've got the first soft spot dug out.
Can I hand this into Cockle?
Yes.
Okay, now pay attention, you guys, all right? It's my open record request. All three of them. There you go. Legible? Don't expect me to type it, because it ain't happening.
Open record request by George Jervis, number
That's me.
1, number of times the ladder truck went out on fire calls from January 1, 2021 to present.
Present.
Over request number 2, number of times fire department called on vehicle fires from January 1, 2021 to present. Number 3 is number of times fire department called out on mutual aid from January 2021 to present. Submitted August 8th, 2022, signed by George Durkis. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't need
Make it
it.
easier, just send it to my email address electronically.
Okay, I will send it to Deb's email address electronically.
Moving on to unfinished business, approval of pavilion rental refunds.
So I got those listed in, it's number 4 in the packet. Handwritten note from Karen for Penny Schneider, Brian Bosch, Renee Hansen, and a reissue to Cynthia Petrie. So I checked the bank, that check is not cleared. I believe it was issued early July, I think. So I avoided that check and reissued it to include in the packet.
I did check with her to make sure, and she has not gotten it, so.
So lost in the
It just, I don't know, we signed off on it at our last meeting and what have you, and so, it was approved. But somehow or other it got, now the other people that we have 2 other people that got theirs.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, so I don't know what happened to that one.
Do any action that needs to be taken on this one, or is that just under Sheriff's approval?
I'm fine with leaving it to check the people.
put them all with the rest of the check.
Tom Picnic?
I have a question on that one.
Yes.
Why didn't you release the funds? That was on you, Rod, 100%. I told you in June. I called you the day before the meeting and asked you to amend the agenda. And you said, I don't know what I'm gonna do on that yet.
When you called me the day before the meeting is Sunday. You called me on Sunday afternoon. Sunday is not a legal posting day, so it would not have been 24 hours with a legal posting day beforehand, so I could not amend the agenda.
Well, your agenda wasn't posted at 8 o'clock on Saturday night either, so you know. So whenever you posted it wasn't legal. But back to my question, why didn't you release these funds?
What I needed out of you is I needed something out of the picnic group or whatever of what you needed, the amount of the check, what you were doing, anything. I got nothing. I got that 2 months when you said, hey, put me on the agenda, and that was it. And it was put
But
me
yet
on
it
the
wasn't-
agenda.
No, it was not put on the agenda. I asked you.
No, you said put me on the agenda.
No, I said we need to put the release of picnic funds on the agenda for July. It's exactly what I told you.
That is not what I heard. I heard put me on the agenda.
Whatever. It's an excuse.
That's all I heard.
Why didn't you release the funds?
Because nobody came forth with anything, any information to release it for what?
I called everybody up here, including Tom, on Friday before, because I knew that this was gonna not go well. And guess what? Here we are, we have people show up, I had people contact me saying, what's going on for the picnic? And I'm not up there anymore, so I had no idea. But when I called you on Friday, you said there's nothing I can do. Carolyn told me it was illegal. Tom was willing to donate $1,200 of his money, but Festival had no time to help me organize anything. This match that goes on between everybody is ridiculous. All we had to do, it's a nice picnic. It's nice to do. It's a great thing.
So call earlier.
So
I
listen to
told you in
Debbie.
June. How many months in advance did you need? I stood up there after the meeting and said, we need the picnic put on the agenda for July. I'm sure every one of you heard me up there. John? You were sitting up there. I was standing in front of you.
You told me that the picnic funds were moved to a different line item.
They were what?
Yeah.
The picnic funds were going to come out of the pavilion because we let that go into highway.
Okay.
But it didn't.
So then,
What I'm saying is
Yes,
you
it
told
did,
me.
the board approved it.
No, I'm just saying, it never got transferred. That's just an aside, I'm sorry, I interrupted. It never got moved out of the,
Well, then it was in the budget then, right? So we had $2,700 in the budget.
Yeah, when you told me that it was moved, I told you it was still in the budget and I showed you where it was.
And I told you to check the minutes because that had been moved at a meeting.
Which meeting?
I don't know, I'm not gonna sit through your job.
March.
Okay.
I was under the impression that it was moved out and it was no longer a budget item.
No.
And when it's no longer a budget item,
We agreed that night that it would be taken out of the park funds like we have done in the past.
I'm never aware of that.
Talk
It
to
was
Tom,
always
he
a,
wrote it down, and he said, I know that, that's how this went. So this one is all on you, Rod, we're not getting it out there to where we could at least discuss it at July's meeting. It's on you.
In the past years, it was a budgeted item that we had in there. And through the discussions, so we could have money set aside for this stuff, it was gonna come out of the park CD, which is the $100 that is not returned, and that was the compromise, so we made sure we had money for everything the fire department wanted, and we tried to get as much money put in for the transportation part. The money was there. It wasn't a line item budget, it just needed to be released like it was last year when we, as a board, gave Deborah a check for $2,500 or whatever it was, and she went and got the stuff. And the same meeting is when we gave Carolyn the money for the startup for the fire department.
You know, you can cut through all the bull that you want, you can mumble around on everything you want. Bottom line is, Rod Bauer, Carolyn Opitz were against this picnic from day one, the very first time it ever started. You guys were against it. You have never set foot up there on the picnic.
Okay.
You did last year to bring some ice.
Okay.
And you guys have been against this from day one, all the way. I'm guessing last Sunday, you two were probably dancing with each other. You were so happy that this thing was canceled.
may I speak, Chairman?
Not yet, I'm not done talking.
Yes, you are.
Oh, no, I'm not.
It was canceled.
I am not done talking.
You're not
Last Sunday, when Lonnie G, she called and she stopped over by it. She said, what the hell is going on? I apologized, I'll bet you 10, 12 times to her for you guys. And I told her, I laid it right on your doorstep. You two are the ones that put the kibosh to this. And I hope you're really happy about that. Because like Nicole said, it's really a nice picnic.
okay, going back to that. If the understanding is that the money was taken out of the budget and it was no longer a line item, that means that when the budget was voted on, that the town constituents had no way of knowing that money was in the budget, right?
Yes, they did, that's what they voted on. It was on.
No, if it was removed.
It wasn't
If the
removed.
line item was removed from the budget.
Not until March, was it Dorothy? March. There you go, John, it's in March minutes.
Bauer, that you're splitting hairs. This was your way to get back at Dorothy Olson and Deb Durfus because they are not the most popular people. They're not cronies, put it that way. That's why, like my last thing that I said at the podium, you guys ought to resign. You're terrible, both of you. You guys are terrible.
Now may I make my comment?
Yes.
I have never been against the picnic, ever. However, as I have pointed out from the first time that this was brought up, it is illegal unless you go through the right steps. And I have it here in writing from Wisconsin Towns. If you go through the right steps, then you can have it. It said, and this is from Carol Nawrocki, who is the head of the Wisconsin Towns Attorneys.
Let her go.
If your town electors vote at a special town elector meeting to authorize a donation for a civic function, such as a parade, a community picnic, etc., the board could then agree to make a donation to the group putting on the civic function. It is in the state statutes that it is illegal for us to use taxpayer money
Wrong,
to support this.
wrong.
It might be
So,
the state
you're-
statute. Our
yes,
ordinances say
Nicole?
different.
How is that different than Fall Fest, because that's taxpayer money too? I didn't see that voted on at any.
Because Fall Fest money is under the fire department. Oh, yes, it is, totally. It's their Fall Fest fund. If you'd like, I'd be happy to get the attorney here to.
I don't
go
want
through
to
all
pay
of
for
this.
anything more. I've requested an open records request, and when I get it, I will review it.
Okay,
Thank you.
but it is, do you think that Carol Dalrocki, who's been the head of the Wisconsin Towns
I'm
Association?
gonna go with, my wife called the state auditor, I think it was on the first one, and the guy told her that it's, as long as there ain't nothing being sold, it is street legal. Matter of fact, he told her, I would like to show up for something like that. That really sounds like a good
It's
deal.
not illegal to have it but the funds are taxpayer money. That is what is illegal.
No, it isn't, because she told him exactly what it
It was
was.
in the budget, Carolyn. The
And I'm gonna
electors
take this-
voted on it.
I'll take the state auditor's word before I'll take the town.
Well, I
associate's.
met with the auditor. I met
Ah,
with the
yeah,
auditor.
I'm sure you did. What's his name?
George.
Bob?
Carolyn,
This
this is
is
in our
absolutely-
budget. The electors did vote on it.
That's what needs to happen.
That's what we did. At the budget hearing, they voted on the budget. It was in the budget.
No, you specifically have to state.
Well, then I guess you, as a supervisor that's supposed to be working for this whole town, should have had her crap together and made sure that it was done correctly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Dorothy, you're first.
Okay, state statute 176-6, miscellaneous powers of the town board. This is out of our ordinances. A, town board may appropriations for civic and other functions, and it's Wisconsin approved by 60.10(3)(b). They appropriate for civic and other functions if authorization under appropriate reasonable amounts of money for gifts or donation to be used to, 1, further civic functions and agricultural societies. B, advertise the attractions, advantages, and natural resources of the town. It shows this is out of our state statutes. I copied it tonight.
Okay, well, this is from, and
This
it has the
advertises
same
our
statutes
pavilion.
here.
It
from the
advertises
attorneys.
our town is a friendly place, which isn't good. I
Well, it
took
certainly
calls
isn't
from
a
people
friendly
who had
place.
just moved to this township. They had their dish to pass and they asked me what happened. Even if you guys had decided you weren't going to fund it, you should have put a sign up that says, no picnic. It's not my position as a citizen to put a sign up there. That is a board decision.
I do believe on the sign it says, if you have any questions, call Dorothy or
Yeah,
Deb.
right, but I cannot cancel the picnic, same as I
Kind of hard
can't
to
do
take
it.
care of it when the board is supposed to be the ones responsible, am I correct? We can't set the agenda, we can't write the checks.
Your town board has village powers.
Here's a challenge
At
to
this
you.
point-
Put on the fall
Okay,
festival
okay.
without any funding and see how that works for you.
Rod, there's another person.
Yes.
I have a question. Coach, since you're on the old computer there, the way to find the money, find your last annual report, and it'll tell you exactly where your money got spent and where it came from. And that'll tell you if it had its own spot for the picnic.
It does.
And if it does,
It's called up in the budget.
then why didn't they just bring it from that same spot this year? If it came out last year, that'd be where you'd find it this year, because you would have budgeted for it.
It's item
Again.
55,200-20, picnic, $2,500. It's in the budget.
So if it was there, it would have been budgeted every year, that way.
Because also the previous board had decided that they were going to pull that out, and then they were gonna pull it out of the picnic fund, so that's changing it. Now you no longer have a line item. That's in where everything gets into the quagmire. It should have just been left in the budget, just exactly like it was.
Right.
It's $3,000.
You guys never moved it. Your budget's wrong the way it sits, unless John corrected it recently, because I'm the one that told him it was wrong.
No, I haven't changed anything.
So according to.
I was under the same impression that you were, Deb.
Oh,
That it had
give me a
been removed.
break. You didn't want the picnic. You could have called a special meeting. You know it and I know it, to get these funds released. You chose not to. And no, the bad part of it is, your board allowed it.
One other question, has it been that price every year?
No, I think we spent right around 27 last year, and we had a limit of 3,000. So we had come in under last year, so.
It just baffles me on how you guys have it every year, magically it comes out of the budget.
Pardon?
If you have it every year, it baffles me why it would ever come out of the budget. Like not be on
On a constant.
a constant, yes.
Absolutely. Because we got two members on this board that do not like Dorothy Olson and do not like Deb Durkis, and they would do anything to put a kibosh in this picnic. And you can sit there and say what you want, you can give me dirty looks, you can glare at me, I don't care. That is fact. You know it and you know it. It's been from day one.
Yes.
I just have a historical question. I've never been to the picnic. How many people, approximately how many people come in the last couple of years?
It varies. I think the most at one time that we had there during the day was probably about 150, but they travel in and out all through the day. So they'll come in and they'll eat and then they leave, and later some more will come and they leave. And
It's a well set up deal. A lot of nice prizes, a lot of kids happy. Can't have happiness in McMillan.
I guess,
Yeah, go up and ask Rod. If he-
my other question is then, do you guys, where does the funds go that get collected from the selling of the beer?
There you go,
Beer,
Beer.
no nothing?
Well, the beer, I mean, soap, a lot of food.
No.
Or where does the funds go that gets collected from that?
Nothing is like.
It's all free?
It's all free.
Oh,
And if, you know, if you show up like Nicole,
Yeah.
there's a dish to pass.
oh, that's nice.
And a lot of nice prizes.
Does the board wish to take any action on this?
Yeah.
Anywhere?
No, move on.
I'd like to see it made better for next year.
We wish to put it on the agenda for next month so that we can start formulating how this is now going to move forward in the future.
That would be smart.
It needs, somehow we need to have a mechanism in place that puts it on the board's agenda starting in May, so that we've got a couple of months to prepare. It needs to be on the agenda starting in May.
John, did you catch that? We put that on the agenda.
Put it on the agenda next month.
Yes.
Seeing how there's so much controversy,
Animosity.
I'll choose to call it controversy. Is this something maybe that we could, I'm just throwing this out as a thought, bring up at the spring annual meeting as a point of
No,
dis-
it is.
Okay, I was there, I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yep, no, we always, it's always talked about at the annual meeting.
Okay, and do we vote, like, do we want to have it, or is it just a,
Let's see,
That is
have an annual
supposed to be
meeting
what's
this year.
supposed to happen.
I was,
And we've never done that. It's been in the budget. So, but we've never voted on it. It's never been, a motion has never been made to approve it, and that it would be very simple to do that.
seems like it would be.
Yeah, you got a budget hearing
So-
coming up. Say it could be done then. It has to be at a special electors meeting, so there's the two. So it could be done then.
Well, we'll put you in charge of that one, Carolyn. See what happens.
We just need to try to make a point to get it on the agenda starting in May.
At least. In May, I asked.
So if I'm still here, somebody can please remind me so that we can make sure that it gets on the agenda.
Oh, you're likely to be here.
Fire department?
Since our last town meeting, we've had 3 EMS calls, 1 motor vehicle accident. For new members, Scott Berg has completed his probationary period, now a full member. On the fire department side, training this month will be driver's training. September 7th, there will be a 1-day ag incident training at the ag research station on Drake. We'll be working on purchasing a new SCB, or compressor for SCBA air, also purchasing 2 sets of gear and 3 helmets. EMS wise, we're waiting to hear back if we got the FAF grant and the Flex grant. That was applied for. I was also elected the EMS State Advisory Board Subcommittee for Training and Education. So every 2 months, for 2 days, I'll be taking a trip to Madison to sit on that subcommittee. Public education, August is National Breastfeeding Month. Check our webpage, our Facebook page out. And for Fall Fest, raffle tickets are available from any member on the department. If anybody would like to help out, please contact any one of the department members.
Hey Lori, on this theft and flex grant, when are we supposed to hear on those?
As soon as I get the email.
When do they close?
They said, the FAP one closed in May, the Flex grant closed July 11th, and they're working on getting all of those reviewed and sent out.
Have you heard anything on the AFG grant?
We'll discuss that when we get to talking about the compressor.
This is fire.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, George.
Are you guys having fireworks again this year?
Of
Over
course.
here?
Yes.
Are you shutting down the road?
We'll do it just like we have always done it in the past.
Pardon me, you're talking away from me, I can't hear
We
you.
will do it just as we have done it in the past.
So who picks up all the garbage from Dorothy Olson's place after all the shit that falls on the yard and on the house and
If I remember correctly, last year, our
I
chief,
can't hear you, you're talking away from me.
if I remember correctly, last year, our fire chief or one of our members went to her property to pick up, and they were asked to leave her property, so we left.
Yeah, I know who that was, and wouldn't it be a really good idea, before they go storming around on her property with the animosity and the feelings between the fire department and her, to call her and ask her if it's okay? Did you guys ever think of that? And why don't you guys have the fireworks set off up on the north end of the park up here? That'd be a great place for it, instead of in front of
Okay,
it.
that's for a whole different discussion.
talking about
I've done my report, I've answered your questions, can we please move on to the next agenda item?
You didn't answer my question. I'm a resident, Christ almighty, why can't you
You
answer
had
the
your time to
question?
ask your questions when you had your 3 minutes at the
No,
comment.
I only had
Yes.
8 minutes.
That you
No,
didn't
I
ask
had
the
8
question.
when I put the
Bob,
time.
please stop.
George, what do you want? What's your question?
Why don't you move the fireworks to the north side of the park? It'd be a hell of a lot easier to clean up. You're not gonna piss off Dorothy Olson and her horses and all that. Would that make more sense?
The reason that it is set up there is the safest place that we have to set off the fireworks and keep it away from everyone. Because if we set them off up here, we will not be able to use any of that up there for parking. That'll all need to be marked
Move the
out.
parking, make them park on the road.
And that becomes a safety issue. That's why we get them off the road.
Well, I'll tell you where the safety issue comes in, is last year Dorothy had flaming garbage flying on her roundels. She's got pictures of it. So there again, you have a safety issue. And possibility of burning somebody's house down.
Here we go again, pick and choose. Ben, who authorized shutting down that road to begin with? Was that ever a board decision? I don't believe it was.
No, it was not.
I don't recall ever seeing that. You guys just took it upon yourself. According, she read state statutes, only in emergencies, and I got news for you, shooting off fireworks up in the air is not an emergency. You still got time to change your wage. Try it up there once. Try it once, see once if it works.
My question is going to be, is across the lot line, that's also your land, is not Dorothy?
That's right, so we maybe take it down the road a ways. I mean, you got the road shut off, blow it off the road farther from my place.
Either that or,
I talked to
Bob,
my
you want it at your
insurance
house?
agent today.
Carolyn, you want it over in your pond over at your place?
The water will take care
No,
of it.
it shakes the windows at my house and I'm a mile away.
Mile and a half, our porch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
then
feel- you feel the
think-
ground
In my house.
I don't know if I feel the ground shake, but I was in.
We
my
were
house.
sitting on, this is no bullshit, we were sitting on the porch last year, and we were kind of watching through the trees, you don't get to see much. And there was that one, that was so, it actually shook our porch. And our porch is not junk, it's really solid. And I thought, this is absolutely ridiculous to go and shoot off the big loud ones like that right alongside of her house with the issue that she's had with horses there forever.
I have a question also. If her horses get out and start going through this crowd that you've got over here for the fireworks, who's gonna be liable for that? The fire department is causing the issue.
How many years have we been doing this? Doesn't matter, it's
The
still
fire
an issue.
department does take letters and go around to all the surrounding people who would be affected, and we do give them a letter, like 2 months to a month in advance saying we're doing this, so there's plenty of opportunity to move horses to a different boarding
Why
place at
should
that
she
time.
have to move her horses off?
That's
Or lock them in a shed, whatever.
That's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ. Ridiculous.
Now back to my question, who's liable?
Probably gonna be the township, and
Probably.
that's why there's insurance taken out on it.
So somebody getting hurt really doesn't matter as long as we got insurance for this. Kind of a sad state of affairs to look at it that way.
I would agree, I think we need to reconsider how much fireworks we're shooting, what the power of it is, and where we shoot them. And I think it needs to be tabled for another time.
And if it continues to stay dry, by the end of August, that cornfield could be bone dry.
Is there a meeting before the fall fest?
When is the fall fest?
The 11th of September?
No, September 10th. Your board meeting is after. It is
You
the
can call
10th.
it special.
Is that your wish, Bob? Was that your wish, Bob?
To me, personally, I think that it's excessive. When it shakes my windows a mile away, I think that's too much, in my opinion. You can have fireworks and have fun. That's too much.
Okay. Do you want a special meeting?
I think that there is consideration for the fireworks that's being shot. I do.
No fireworks.
I mean, you can shoot fireworks, but you don't have to shake the houses a mile away.
I had a 6-year-old who just said, maybe you need to get rid of the fireworks. He's 6.
What does Marshall do? I mean, their houses go.
There are such a thing as quiet fireworks without the big loud bangs. You'd be better off putting your money into the colorful stuff rather than the bangs. Unless, of course, you want to piss off Dorothy Olson, then, continue the way you are.
Well, I think we need to get off of that Dorothy Olson topic because it's the public in general. It's not just her. She's not the only one that lives here.
No, I understand that, but she's the one that
Obviously,
takes the run of the bullshit.
She's the closest, obviously.
She gets the garbage on her property.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
I mean, it's one thing to have a really nice celebration event, but I think we need to rein it in. That's just me thinking out loud. And I haven't been here for 25 years. I was born here, but I left and I came back, and I think it's great that we have the celebration. I guess I'm like the little guy. Do we really need fireworks? And if we do, we need to tone it down. That's my opinion. For what it's worth.
The laser show years back was pretty cool.
The what?
The laser show.
Without the noise. I agree with you. See, Bob, I knew you had possibilities. Your cohorts, not so much.
Just speaking my mind.
Do you want a special meeting?
If that is, do we need that?
Did you already purchase
What's
those
the-
fireworks?
Yeah.
Are they all purchased already?
What's
We're
the plan?
they have not been purchased yet. I do not believe that they've been ordered yet, but we're already fundraising for it.
Pretty sure I have a check.
Well, if the board
So
doesn't give them the
what is the
permit.
direction to the guy that's shooting the fireworks off? Does he just get free rein on whatever he wants to shoot off?
No.
I mean, we we need to give them.
No,
kind of
he
some kind of
talks to
direction.
us and he tells us what he's ordering. But he is our pyrotechnician and we trust what he tells us he's gonna order. He's got a pyrotech license and he takes care of it.
Which is fine, I guess, to me, I think, you know, when it shakes my windows a mile away, that's pretty powerful.
Bob, I'll ask to see the specs of the fireworks that we use. You'll find out how big these fireworks are. They're
Yeah,
actually,
I'm not a pyrotechnic guy to know what the
Oh, they-
firework description's gonna tell me.
I have the guys that do the dynamiting at the pit. Check mine. They set a machine up in my yard 2 years ago. He says it's like a war.
Why do they do that?
I mean, you could ask Tom his opinion, he's part of the board too. I think there needs to be a little bit of direction. We gotta go with the fireworks, we don't need the high power stuff that's gonna shake windows. I like the colorful stuff and all that, that's fine.
I will take his suggestion back to him and I'll talk to him.
So we get a special board meeting, or, I mean, do you wanna read?
I'm asking the question, is it necessary, is a special board meeting necessary? I don't know.
For what? Yes.
To make a call on how large the fireworks, or if the fireworks go off? That's the question that Bob posed.
Let's set it up for 2 weeks so we get Tom there.
It's gotta be done in a week, well, I guess as soon as Tom can get back on this, because, I mean.
Because he wants to order them here within the next couple of weeks, I think he told me.
I mean, because otherwise something else has to be, I mean, you're asking a complete change of venue, it gets canceled.
You just cancel for it?
Yeah, and
And what?
you need about half the people to show up, or the people that's what they show up.
That's when the big crowd shows up.
They're here for fireworks.
So,
Then I guess we just try to set a meeting up as soon as we can.
Okay.
I would like Tom there. Yeah. For his,
So what have you decided to do?
we'll have a special meeting as soon as Tom can be available.
You need to let me know soon enough so I can get our fireworks guy here too.
Where's he on?
He's here in, McMillan, but he's retired, he travels a lot, I just need to make sure he's here for that day. Cause he's the one who can answer 90% of your questions.
Okay.
Treasurer's report.
So did you schedule a special meeting?
So I completed the bank reconciliation. It's on page 7 of your packet.
Say that again.
It's on page 7 of your
No,
packet.
first part.
Oh, I completed the bank reconciliation.
Bank reconciliation.
So I gathered all of the statements from July from all of the associated bank accounts.
That's this one.
Yes, that one. My understanding that Associated Bank is the only bank that I have access to the town. So the balances are listed there. Checking account is 67,391. Tax savings is 476,914. Fire department savings 38,665. Restricted cash, ARPA funds 220131, and then park fund savings account is 12,276. And the accounts reconciled with the balances listed in QuickBooks. And the number of the 23,142 is the remaining loan balance for the breathers at First State Bank. That was the one that Tanya had mentioned that had incurred a penalty for failure to pay on time. But Carolyn was able to get that penalty removed and then applied to our principal, so the principal's down.
How much was that penalty? Do you know offhand?
Like $1,600.
How much?
$1,600?
You're on the checks, am I correct, John?
No, I'm on the bank reconciliation.
This one?
The one with my signature on it in the middle.
Okay, so you didn't have the clerk's portion of it done? The bottom, where,
I don't know how to obtain that information.
because the treasurer and the clerk, you're supposed to be able to compare these, to where you're both coming out with the same balance.
Yeah,
You got nothing to compare it to. And the last two, May
but I
and,
compared it to
June,
the
May and
QuickBooks.
June's treasurer's reports were both wrong. So, and they had nothing to compare it
According
to.
to what
According
information?
to what?
According
Look
to
at
what
them and read
information?
them.
I'm sorry?
Look at them and read them. They're wrong.
The
The
money?
treasurer's reports
So
from May and June.
you're suggesting the money was incorrectly listed on May and
No,
June?
I said their reports was wrong, both of them.
Okay,
I'm not saying there's any money missing or anything on that, but to approve this, a treasurer's report and a clerk's report, you got nothing to compare it to, so there's nothing to approve. The one that Steve had, where you could see the balances on both, was a very good option.
I've looked through the computers, I can't
It's
find
on
it.
open up Steve's computer, and it's right on your page, when you open it up.
Okay,
Under Excel, I believe he's got it.
I'll look for it.
Because it showed each month to the next month to the next month, and that's a good way to have it, so everybody here can see the changes. This, approving this when you got nothing to compare it to is useless.
No, he has it. Here. And if there's any.
You wish to move on, or?
Yeah.
Clerk's report.
Sure, so, by correspondence, I received a notice of public hearing from the Marshfield Plan Commission. The hearing is on August 16th, 2022, at the City Hall at 7 p.m. There are two items on the agenda. One is a rezone at 1901 South Central Avenue, and the second is a conditional use request to subdivide a property within the RH 35 Rural Holding Zone District at a density of greater than 1 unit per 35 acres. The property located at 2905 West McMillan Street. If you want me to forward that email or that notice, let me know. I can send it to you.
What is this that you're, at City Hall? Is this a joint plan?
No. It's I imagine that it's related to, you know, how, when they send out the CPZ stuff of rezones, they send you a list of neighbors that you need to contact.
Oh.
I imagine that's what this is, I imagine, I don't know. I can send it to you, do you want me to send it to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Forward it on to Dave too.
Who?
Dave's on the Joint Plan Commission, and
Larry C.
Larry Seaver and
Ron Votes.
Ron Votes.
All right, I'm not sure that I have all their emails, but I will.
We can get them for you.
Okay, so.
They were in there. That's that.
Carolyn, Dave, Swenson, who were the other people?
Ron Goetz,
Ron Goetz?
GOTZ,
Okay,
and Larry C. Haver.
okay, that's it? Okay, I'll do
Yes.
that. Let's see, I received, 3 sanitary permits, for Oberholzer, Swenson, and Johnson. I received a number of zoning permits for Bowman, Oberholzer, Rizkala, Johnson, Peterson, and Thomason. I received
Zoning permits?
Zoning permits, yes.
House,
Oh, okay.
that here.
They were for fences, detached garage, house, pool, and so, well, I'll go to the pool people. Swim in the pool later on this week. We received a certificate of insurance from Solutions. I was CC'd on the conditional approval from DSPS for Seahipper refrigeration. I've received 3 open records requests since the last meeting up until today, and then 3 more today. One of those open records requests have been completed, the other 2 are in process. I've appointed my wife, Melissa Coble, as deputy clerk. Once I get the call forwarding thing figured out, I'm expecting her to help me answer the phone during the week. Tanya was reclassified as deputy clerk, but remained at her previously approved hourly salary, or hourly rate of $21.53. Let's see, credit card. So I communicated our situation to the credit card issuer that we don't have the credit card. And they said that they would issue a new card and ask what name should be on it and if the address should change. I only communicated that with them via email, so to me that seems like a security risk. I'd like to find a new credit card, hopefully one that has some sort of minimal rewards like cash back. Currently, I don't believe that ours has any of that, and then switch into that. I can either apply when I find the card or bring the potential new card to the next meeting. Let's see. I registered for the Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association New Clerks class held during the annual conference. The class is on August 24th, 22, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Let's see. Dale Luffel offered to put meeting notices on his new sign. He's got a new electronic sign to put stuff up there, so if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I can work with him. He's told me that he's had some trouble getting his sign to function properly in the first place, so I'm sure his priority is getting his stuff up there, but once he gets it all squared away, he's willing to put our meeting notices up there.
Did he has permit from the county, right, on the size and what have you of the signs? Has he done all of that?
Well, that was a long
Probably,
time
it's
ago.
already up.
That was a long time ago.
Let's see.
Oh. John, quick question, did you cancel the credit card then?
No, to my knowledge, they're sending me a new one,
Okay.
and potentially in my name, so I
It has
feel
to
like
be in the
that's,
clerk's name because the previous boards, and the bank requires a name be on it, so we always had the clerk.
yeah, it's just a little odd to me that I was able to do that via email, and I could have just changed the address. So I think that provides a security risk.
I think the process was Patty was in the process of doing that, and you probably got in the middle of that one.
Oh, okay. I can update you once I get the new card. I'd like to utilize more ACH payments. Those are automatic clearinghouse payments. The reason being this body meets once a month. If a billing cycle ends at an inopportune time, we might get the invoice right after the meeting, and then the due date might be before the next meeting. And I want to avoid any late fees, penalties, finance charges, etc. Ideal candidates for ACH would be the Cellcom invoice, Marshall Utilities, and We Energies. Do you want me to submit a list of vendors I'd like to switch to at each meeting?
John, utilities are already approved, you can pay them at any time online.
Okay.
Those have been approved for a couple of years already.
Yes, they have.
Okay, I'll get us enrolled in the Marshall Utilities and We Energies stuff.
John,
Yes.
also, I want to give you, I got a bill today that came to my house from Northwest Recycling. Apparently, because I was on their board before, this is our second half of our recycling.
Okay. I can add it to the, after you guys review it, I can add it to the extra checklist that we're tailing.
Yeah, it was due the 1st of August.
Yeah, the first payment for 22 is due on January 15th. That was 23,000. This one was due August 1st, and that's 7,800 roughly.
Yeah, apparently, here, you read the bottom of it where it said that second notice,
Oh,
yeah. So, apparently, it was returned.
That was the Northwest Recycling Board?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, let's see. On one of my first days, I was greeted with a $420 penalty letter from the failure to file the Q1 2022 unemployment tax and wage report. I was able to bring our UI reports current, and I communicated with unemployment, and they were willing to waive that penalty. So that's good news there. I am gearing up for the election tomorrow. I'm excited. I've gone through all of the training. I'm looking forward to get my feet wet on that. I think that's, also, the fire department is requesting a waiver of fee for fireworks permit, bartenders and picnic license, and checks, fall fest reimbursements and check approval, those are included in the checklist. So I guess a motion would be approved, potentially for number 5 and number 6 under the clerk report.
Did you approve the checks already?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
He's
sorry,
just doing his
doing it a
reports.
little bit out of order. I'll have to, this is my first one. I'll try and get better at
Now, I just wanted to make sure, because I had a couple questions.
I'll make a motion to waive the fee request for Fall Fest fireworks permit. Do you want it all in one, or do you want to do them individually?
individually seems safer.
Okay. What is it, isn't it normally $10?
I haven't got that far.
Yeah, I think so. So, I made the motion.
I'd like to table that to that meeting.
If you don't second it, it dies, and then you make a motion to table it.
Okay. You're not gonna second it? Rod, are you gonna second it?
Cool.
Okay, then it dies, all right? Then I'll make a motion to table that till our special meeting. Waiver of fee request for Fall Fest bartenders and picnic license.
So you're making that motion?
Hmm?
You made that motion?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll second that.
I have a second, and a motion and a second to approve the waiver for the fee for their Fall Fest bartenders and picnic license. Any further discussion?
No. The motion on the floor is motion to table waiver of fee
Oh.
for the fireworks permit.
I thought it just
Oh,
died.
no,
It
I
just
guess
died.
I thought
It
it
just
just
died
died.
'cause of the
So,
lack
but
of
I guess,
second.
yeah, I thought we said
Oh, yeah,
we
no,
were
no,
gonna
I've
table.
recorded,
Yeah.
okay, I've recorded that it was failed.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So I'll,
and table to the next special meeting is what I said, okay? Okay, so then make a motion to waive a waiver of the fee request for Fall Fest bartenders and picnic license. Bob seconded it.
okay.
No further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so now we can go through the checklist. My apologies for that being late. Matter of fact, I didn't save one of those for me, so. If you have any questions, I'll.
You want Tom?
I can give it.
You want Tom's copy?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you. What's all these payments to the US Treasury?
That was probably to get rid of our $420
Delinquent,
fee.
We got one for
Gets
three,
kept caught up.
they're delinquent,
All those are delinquent?
tax remittances, most of them,
You're probably gonna be getting another penalty then for the second quarter.
probably.
You see you got a penalty for the state also?
so whose shoulders does this penalty thing fall on? Why, where did this come from and how long ago?
Is this on time yet? I mean, bottom line, it should be,
I'd have
because
to
I
do-
think you only had one payment on the 15th of July and one payment on the 30th.
Yeah, I'd have to double check, I would
Well,
imagine that.
if it is, that will lead me to the question, what the hell was she getting paid for and what the hell did she do?
Yeah.
Not much, obviously.
John,
If
John.
we're getting tagged for 3, 4, 5, probably $6,000, over 6, 8, 7
John.
grand.
Do you know how to do all that?
Yes,
Okay, so you know the 15th and the end of the month is payroll taxes?
yes,
Did you get the quarterly out for
Yes.
second quarter for
Jesus.
the 941, the reconciliation, the
Yes.
unemployment?
yes.
Okay. If you need help, holler.
Okay,
Because I'll tell you what, these penalties,
I know,
yeah.
I've,
They're not on you. I can see they're not on you. If they're on you, it'll be next month and the month after.
Hey, John, what's DOR? What is that?
Department of Revenue.
Department of Revenue.
Are them penalties too, or is that standard?
No, those are all standard, all of the e-pay ones are standard. There is a penalty.
Penalties for them too?
Yeah.
Check number 19038 is a penalty of $50.
Yeah.
When I arrived, the penalty was $998.
Hey, I gotta ask you guys as a board, are you okay with all this? That this is what this woman did? Huh?
I'm just not sure, I'm not sure what you're saying here on all of this. Why?
What
So
happened
now
was,
the e-pay over here
Carolyn,
on the other sheet.
the payroll taxes are due on the 15th and the end of the month, okay? It's either the federal and Social Security and Medicare are due on the 15th, the state is due at the end of the month. Tommy didn't pay them. When you don't pay them, you get penalized.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking with the IRS and the state.
So are those
For
the
clarity,
electronic payments?
All of the electronic payments, none of them are penalties. Those are all taxes due, taxes withheld from the employees. None of those are penalties. The
None of
only
those are penalties.
The only penalty listed on the checklist is check number 19038, $50 for the Department of Revenue. Everything else is taxes due, or remittance of taxes that were
Okay, so
withheld.
those are just
Were they paid
electronic
timely?
transfers.
I'm sorry?
Were they paid timely?
Nope,
Okay, so
They're
then the penalties are coming in.
likely.
Well,
And then I will
7.7.
ask for abatement of the penalties.
Well, we tried that before and Tanya, it cost us $500 then.
Yeah, so the penalty from the Wisconsin Department of Revenue is, I asked for abatement of penalty on that one, and they said, no, you can't have that because you've had too many prior infractions, and this was for the May taxes remittance. So, too many prior infractions of late payments, they said, we've given you enough grace, you have to pay a penalty this time. So, like I said, I've gotten,
So
when
you're
I,
saying there were late payments
In
prior to
May.
April? So April on back?
yeah, and I've worked with
We
the
had a-
Department of Revenue for quite a while in my day job, and they're quite personable. And same with the IRS, if you can ever get a hold of somebody, currently you can't, there's nobody to call. Like, I call and they say, we're all busy, call back tomorrow, and then they don't answer. But the Department of Revenue is easy to work with, so it must have been some, I would imagine, a number of times that they let it slide and then.
I know Patty had one late fee on Wisconsin Department of Revenue in a couple of years. Her 941s are always timely, as far as I know, because I used to call her.
So now, this $50 for the Wisconsin, this DOR, what are you saying? That one is a fee?
That one's a penalty, yes.
He was saying that penalty was $998.
Yeah.
If you look at all of these, okay, these right here, US Treasury, no, they're all late. Okay, I can tell by looking at the dates. Every one of them is late. Because those should have been made on the 15th of the month, next month. That's what you need to look for. It's gotta be made by the 15th.
We don't know what these months were for though.
No, that's what I'm saying, they're all late. Because you're not done with August yet, so August wouldn't be until September. But all of these, yeah, this is,
So going forward, what I do is I pay payroll and I pay the liabilities. There's no reason to not. So you'll see more frequent DOR and US Treasury stuff on there because there's no reason for me to wait. If tax is due, why should I wait on for it? Because otherwise, if I wait, then it's more likely that I'll forget.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just pay the payroll, pay the payroll liabilities, end of story.
you're
So-
better off doing that anyway because your quarterlies are usually up there and then those are supposed to be bi-weekly. So if you can pay it after each payday, you're 100% better off.
Yeah, that's what I intend to do. I can, if you want more information on these, I can figure out what time periods they're from and stuff. I have access to all that stuff. I can bring it to the next meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to go over those, your electronic payments, John.
All right.
Yeah, I got another question. What's McQueen emergency for 1,170? You have an idea, anybody?
That is for a pair of turnout tanks for one of our members who had to have theirs replaced. And they used to be called 5-alarm, but McQueen bought them out and changed the name to McQueen.
Okay, what's farmway truck and trailer repair for 5,661?
That's equipment.
That go to, is that the fire
There was a
department?
tanker that was repaired and there was one of the dump trucks that were repaired. They were put together, I believe.
What was the Freightliner, tanker one, and there was a small one for like 200 something. Let me get that up. Air filter for engine 10. Brake repair for the Freightliner. More brakes for tanker 1.
Then you got Platte River Fireworks. Did you guys pay for the fireworks already? Is that how that goes? For $588?
Yes, there's a check here for Platte River Fireworks, $588.
That's what I just said.
Tubes.
It was for tubes, it wasn't for fireworks.
Fireworks itself.
So that covers all the fireworks that you guys are gonna shoot off?
No, that's just the
No,
tubes to
it's
put them in.
What?
It's the tubes to put them in, to shoot them off.
Really? Holy Christ, that's expensive, ain't it?
Hey, John,
Yes.
you might want to look at these payments for US Treasury and Department of Revenue. Because according to the checklist, this one was made, this one was made, and the back was also listed. That was also listed on here, this one and this one. So double check them.
$11.50 for fire safety.
What's that?
$11.50 for fire safety USA.
That's listed there. June tax, and
Wait a
827.
minute. Fire Safety USA is the turnout gear. McQueen was,
That's all of what's
what is
remaining.
he do stuff?
According to June 13th, it says it was paid.
Okay.
I don't have a list of the checks in front of me, so, and I don't have the receipts, our treasurer has those, so I'll have to go back and look and see, unless John can answer that.
What are you talking about?
Fire Safety USA is $11.50 and then that McQueen emergency is $11.70.
I'm pretty sure the fire safety is the turnout pants. McQueen, I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Fire safety is pants.
Yep, that's the turnout pants. You don't know McQueen's was
McQueen. let's see, very old SCBA breathers compressors
Oh,
test?
Yes,
Test.
our breathers have to be tested along with our compressor. And when we got that, it had, I'm pretty sure it had a past due stamp on it.
Yeah, it was, the date on here is February 11th, 2022.
So what's the $700 to Hiller's True value for?
That is for the
Tent.
deposit of our tent.
$390 for Clemens?
It had to be
Little Red
bus or
Chevy.
something for Clemens.
Let's see. Code for replacing alternator, it says the customer will replace the alternator. And then,
Water pump.
airbag light is on, bad sensor. So they installed a new airbag sensor.
John, I discussed the Department of Revenue, the 13078, the second one, was also paid on your main checklist. Better off to pay double than not pay at all, isn't it?
I agree. I will follow up on this. I appreciate that. Thank you.
291 Melon Farms, what's that for?
I'm going to believe that's batteries for the graders.
2 MP8 or MHD interstate batteries.
What are you looking at?
McMillan Farms.
$1270 to TJ's Tire and all.
Tires from Cat's Country.
2010 International Plow Truck, 2 tires.
One has the recommendation with the slid in it, then people were steer tires do both one. And they had access to several other places do not have access to them. Tires are getting hard to get for some of that.
So we need a motion to approve the checks as presented.
And include a check to the post office for whatever amount you guys want, and then the Northwest Recycling forward for
So we decided on the post office 500, right? Okay, and the recycling is what?
778846.
Okay.
Yeah, I got one more question. 5258 for festival, what was that for?
52.
I think that was for water and Gatorade for on the rigs for our rehab for when we get fire calls in the summer.
It was for
Stamps also.
Fritos for the Fall Fest. Charge to the Fall Fest account, and then
Fritos for the walking tacos for Fall Fest.
Oh, okay.
Fritos,
Okay.
potato chips, corn chips.
Hey, don't know what much ash.
Okay, do we want
So
to?
I'll make a motion to approve the checks with the addition of $500 for the post office for postage, and to add the Northwest Recycle Board payment of $7788.46. Did I get that number right?
778846.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the checks as presented and also the amended ones. Any further discussion? Those there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Checks are done.
That's the end of my report.
Do you need your, credit card?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested in.
You're not gonna, the thing is, you're not gonna be able to slide a whole month without a credit card, because off the credit card, we pay some of our, like your QuickBooks and stuff, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm expecting that the new credit card, they're setting a new credit card from what my understanding. So I'm willing to roll with this one and I'll search for a replacement one.
Okay.
That hopefully has some awards or type spirit.
Dumb question. This shows 62,935 in the checking account,
Oh, you're right.
and this totals 112,846.
Yeah, I forgot.
A little short.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Boss. So let's see.
We need to try to take money, transfer from the tax savings account.
I would like to be on the safe side, so, do you have the difference there, Bob? Do you know? Or rough
I did,
difference?
yeah, I gotta add the other amount though.
Because we gotta add in that 77, or otherwise you can give me some numbers and I can run it through this calculator here on this.
Well, that larger group of checks, I just added the 500 in the recycle board to it, then you gotta add the 5192 to it. So the new total I have is 118,038.42. Right?
We had one time.
So there's a total of checks on the list of 109,749. We're gonna add the 500 for the post office and the 7788.46 for Northwest Recycle Board.
Yeah.
That brings the new total to 118,038. But there's only $62,000 in the checking account, well, just under 63.
Yeah. So I'd request, transfer of $60,000 from tax savings into general checking. Tanya mentioned that there's an August settlement that will be coming soon. As you all know, I'm very new at the clerk, and I hope to learn about that at the clerk's meeting. The clerk class, I'm not familiar with August settlement. She said it should be a significant amount of money. I don't think it's going to be $56,000.
So that's in July, property tax payments, right?
No, because, well, oh, yeah. So
So 60?
60 would be my request. I like
We need
to,
55, so,
I like to budget conservatively. That gives me a little bit of cushion, but not a significant amount of cushion, because I don't think we need more.
Bob says 65.
65?
no, I said that gives us 5,000 cushion.
Oh, I see.
You got payroll. Get ready for
Cover
your payroll.
payroll.
And payroll taxes.
No, I don't, well,
You're gonna have a treasurer soon, according to this. Right?
well, so it's
Then
like,
she'll be
it's
making the transfers. Once you put on the special meeting agenda, the resolution to have your treasurer sign checks and be part of the banking, so she can make the transfers.
$5,000 should get me through the next payroll.
Let's
And
just
then-
make it 65, just so that we get enough. So I make a motion to transfer 65,000 to checking from
Tax savings.
tax savings.
Nothing?
I'll second it.
Motion is second to move 65,000
Yeah.
from savings to checking. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against? You're clear to move it.
Thank you.
Take care of everything from you, John?
Yep, I should be good to go.
Do we have 7 though? Your Fall Fest reimbursements and check approvals?
They were
That was
They were
included.
included?
That's included in the list.
All right.
Yeah.
ATV and UTV ordinance? guess the only thing that I've got in there is I've been receiving complaints about ATVs and UTVs operating outside of their hours. Our hours are from 10 o'clock at night to 5 in the morning. They're not allowed to be operated unless it's for non-recreational use, i.e. farmers or construction people or whatever that way. I also put that in the newsletter. That's one of the reasons I like the newsletter to go out and print. I know that it's old-fashioned, but it does reach people that don't always read their emails and catch things that way, because that is things that we try to put in there. So I guess I'm asking everybody, if you know you got a neighbor, somebody that's running around after 10 o'clock at night, or their kids are running around after 10 o'clock at night, I guess I'd ask you to kind of, remind them to.
What about what's
the
in
ordinance.
the morning? I ain't going
Well,
out there.
I'm between the hours. I mean, yes, there's 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's the chief complaints that I've been receiving, is roughly 2 o'clock in the morning.
Because we could go
but-
past our place, I mean, they go by, it's really not that big a deal. I mean,
Well, in some of the places, they feel like they're running like loops, because they're gone, and then they're back, and then they're gone, and then they're back. So I guess I'm just trying to make everybody aware that there is basically a curfew on them, if you will, or whatever. Yes?
Is that a village ordinance?
Yes.
Is it on your signs?
I do not believe so.
No.
If it's an ordinance, why is the ordinance either not on your sign or the description not on your sign?
We have generic signs. We purchased printed on our own. They were generic. So I guess we can look at having something added to that, and
I got a question, what is the county, do they have hours set?
They do not.
Okay, so that's probably why there's some confusion.
Correct.
for some of it though, with some of the people that have been, making me aware of, they feel that it is not outside people, it is residents that are doing this,
Yeah, but
or residents' kids, so.
Well, there's
yes.
pickup trucks and crotch rockets and cars racing up and down the gallery in the middle of the night.
Say,
and those are legal vehicles.
Right.
Yeah, so.
So how do you distinguish between an ATV, UTV, or a pickup truck that's racing past the house?
I'm just making everybody aware of the ordinance, that's all it's.
You can probably post that, sir.
Yes.
In any other township, I have not seen on the signs where it says hours of operation, it just says,
Because it's a village ordinance, it's not a state ordinance. So this village would have to post it where none of the others do. Just like in the township of Oak Lane, there are no speed limits on our roads. You are to blaze the speed limit of the road, which gravel roads is 45, paved roads are 55. That is what an ATV is set at then. The state has no ordinances over it. They never made any. They just opened up to all the townships, agreed to open up their roads, and the Marathon County went with it. There are no ordinances towards it.
But we can, as a.
As a township does,
Yeah,
and that's why
and
that's
what our-
Bob, if you
yeah,
posted
it
it
is.
on
Yeah.
your specific ATV signs, your ordinance is 123.-B8. And then they can look it up if they get fined for that ordinance, they better look it up for what it was. It's on your ATV sign then. Which is posted on just about every road in the township. Minus state highways and county roads, because they're not live, or they're not able to be rode on in Marathon County unless organized by your individual township.
You can cross over them only.
That's it. Except for like the P&E Bridge up there by Mark Rapids, you can run that stretch to get to that dirt road going to Buckhorn. That's the only county
County
road.
P is legal the whole way.
Huh?
County P is legal the whole way.
Did they open that up? I
All the
was
county
not aware
roads
of
are,
that.
all the county roads are open,
Well, they are now.
unless they're posted.
See, they weren't about
Yeah,
2 months ago or
they
3
just
months
did
ago.
that.
it's the unless they're posted part that,
Right,
Yeah.
so County E from, I think it's
Elm
Elm
down,
Tree
Elm south.
south, the traffic was over 2,500 count per day.
Okay,
So those sections are not open.
okay, I'm just,
But you can ride Highway M all the way from 29 to
wherever.
Auburndale.
Okay, then if you guys have specific ordinances, you should post them. Otherwise, how do you govern it?
Well, you can't
Yeah,
anyway.
It's hard to enforce.
It's an unenforceable ordinance,
We
because
don't
we don't
enforce it,
have
the
a,
county enforces it, so.
you know,
Yeah, we have no judge. Okay, let's go.
ARPA funds, John?
Let's see, so Tanya suggested that I put this on here, to kind of keep it front of mind. She said that she would send me some information about allowable ways to spend it. She sent it to me later on this afternoon, so I didn't get a chance to review it. I did double check, it looks like, those funds are good through 2024, so we've got some time to figure it out.
Yeah, it's pretty much open roads, construction stuff now, where initially it was not.
Yeah.
But that deal, you're gonna have to keep a totally separate file on ARPA funds. So you're gonna be making copies of everything and keep it in a separate file, because they can audit you
Track it.
3 years afterwards. So,
One of the things that I did see, so maybe I can try and prepare this for the next meeting, the Wisconsin Towns Association sent something, I think it was like that ARPA funds were required to follow uniform guidance, so the town would have to adopt, I think it was conflict of interest policies, and then, purchase.
Basically, it's a bidding process.
Yeah, but you have to like, procurement process, I think, but it's more specific, like you have to, so uniform guidance, you have to like identify how you're gonna deal with small purchases and micro purchases and all that stuff, and set thresholds. But I think that, I'd have to look at our ordinances to see if I feel like they comply, but we might have to beat that stuff up before we start spending the money, but I'll try and, research that stuff before the next meeting.
I read that same email. Is there, if we have it for, it was a loss of income or whatever for the township, a loss of tax dollars, then you don't have to. But their recommendation was to follow all of it, because if it falls outside of that, or if they change the rules, because they're changing the rules continuously, they're going back and forth, to just follow that, so.
I think the only loss of income that we had figured at that time was pavilion rental. That would have been your only loss of income.
So we don't fall underneath that. Appointment of election inspectors?
Let's see, somebody had floated the name of Kathy Dobriner and Arlene Spice. I'm concerned that we're not gonna have enough election inspectors for tomorrow. I couldn't locate any contact information for a number of them. One of them I can't, I'm not even sure, she's not even registered to vote. You can consider appointing Kathy and Arlene. Otherwise, I'm certain that there's a mechanism to appoint election inspectors the day of as an emergency.
So you only have two?
Do they have their classes?
They haven't had their classes, they need their training. If you need election workers more than what you have, call the county at this point.
Kathy already worked and Arlene in the past.
But they have to be renewed
They got to be
on a
done.
steady basis. And they haven't worked in a couple of years, correct?
I think for tomorrow, it looks like we have enough.
I think that we've
Unless
got
something changed today.
4 people, right? Is that right?
Or it should be 5.
5 people?
All you need is 3, John.
Okay. Good.
Oh,
I think we're
and you
still.
only have two?
No.
We have plenty.
We've got 5, I
You
guess.
got 5.
Oh,
I was mistaken on 4, but.
All you gotta do is make sure you got an odd number, so you gotta have 3 or 5.
So now, these people have volunteered to step forward and do that? My question is, because you have them on the docket, you have them there, and they volunteered, do we want to get them trained up so that in the fall election, the next one, that they're available and they're accessible to us?
I would, because people also
Sure.
have been contacted.
Because, I mean, even if we don't use them tomorrow, we can use them for the remaining elections for the year.
If we need them, yes.
yeah.
You aren't gonna be able to use them tomorrow, John.
That's not a good idea.
We don't need them.
But at least this would give you some
So
time to
who
get
do
your
we have?
training in.
Who do we have here you're all set for tomorrow? Everybody's trained and they're all set?
Right.
Yeah, so we've got Mary Jane,
Swenson?
Bernice,
Okay.
Dorothy.
She's deputy clerk.
and Bruce.
And Dorothy.
And Dorothy, yeah.
And Sherry.
And Sherry Imhoff, yeah.
Okay, okay. So do
to
we
a
need to,
mower.
He's gonna fill in when Bruce goes home.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's what your memo said.
With Mary Jane.
so do we need to do anything with this? Do
The
we
only-
need to make a motion to approve them?
The
Or
only thing I was
what? No,
thinking-
you're just telling us what, that you have the appointments
board.
made.
So that they have training.
So,
You
so
have to-
previously, let's see, 9 or 11, quite a few people were appointed as election inspectors earlier this year. A number of them I haven't been able to contact. So I'm suggesting adding more to the pool to see who wants to work. You know, two of the people that were appointed for election inspectors, they said that they had stuff going on this week or tomorrow. And so if we could go without them, they would appreciate that. They said that they were willing to serve if needed, but
Okay.
they would appreciate it if they didn't. So, I think adding to the pool sounds good. If you don't want to, that's all right. We can, I think that we can get by with what we have.
I think adding to the pool is a good training.
Yeah.
So
He
that's what
doesn't
you're
need it, he
asking.
doesn't use it.
And that's my point is put it, you have appointment of election inspector, so you want us to approve
Adding him to the pool.
adding to the pool.
The two names,
Great.
Arlene and Kathy.
Bill Bryan.
Yeah, that's on.
Weren't they on the list before?
No,
No.
not on the list for this year. I think the election inspectors are good for 2 years.
Yeah,
Is that right? Yeah.
so there's a.
So they would be good
So
for,
Dorothy, are you,
I'm on it.
you are in Bruce, right?
yep.
Okay.
So this would just add 2 more
Oh, okay, all right,
for
all
the
right.
rest of this year and all of next year.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve adding 2 new election inspectors.
Yeah, Kathy and Eileen.
To the list. Is there a second?
You making a motion?
That's what I said.
Yeah, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Yeah, 2 election. Great.
Kathy Dobermeyer, wasn't she a chief inspector? I believe?
Board appointment is Steve here.
I don't know.
Steve was here, you must have had him.
Okay. Do you want to tell the group a little bit about him or about
I'm sorry, what?
Steve? Do you want to inform the board about Steve a little bit?
Okay, so I met with Steve. He's interested in serving on the board as my replacement, whereas the supervisor that's open.
That's Steve Deers. Is that his last name?
Steve Mikulski?
Yeah, that sounds right. He lives down on the corner of Highway E and Elm Tree.
That's Steve Mikulski then.
So we chatted for probably half an hour last Friday. Seems like a real nice guy. He said that he was born here, moved away, served in the Marine Corps, served in law enforcement, and came back and works in security at the hospital, I believe, or the clinic. So he's got some roots here, and he wanted to kind of give back to the community. So that's,
You talked to him?
I've talked to him also.
Okay. So you wanna make a motion?
Yep.
We have a question out there.
I also want to say that I emailed everybody on the board to express my interest as well, because everybody in the room's aware.
You were, you did?
I think that when you emailed me, when I got it, I think that he had already been approached,
I don't think that matters, you're voting on it now.
Your vote doesn't matter.
so.
But it's you.
Well, that she just noted that she was willing to serve. That was nice. So, okay.
I was gonna mention her name when I was up there, but it got cut off. I don't think I had my 8 minutes up, so. You know, you certainly don't wanna go over that.
Okay, so Rod, are you gonna make the motion? Or am I? Or what do you want? I'll make a motion to approve Denise Mikulski as, for the vacant board appointment. You gonna second? Somebody needs to second it.
Put it on your special, hopefully Tom will be there.
Pardon me?
I said put it on your special and hopefully Tom will be there.
We can do that. Why don't we do both, and for the next one, do them both. Do them both.
We'll board
Yeah,
that.
yeah, okay, all right, then let's move on.
On new business,
Huh?
you're saying on new business,
Hey, you're what?
with the treasurer alone?
Yeah, we'll do them both, yeah, when we have our board here, yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah. Okay.
Right, the local rezone?
Rod, we can't hear because of all of this.
Yeah,
Nobody can hear you.
okay.
When's the rezone? You have
The rezone is in your packet. And the plan commission recommends.
What happened to the treasurer appointment?
a table.
Yeah, we said the same thing, we're moving both of them.
Well, who did you have that you were going to appoint?
Just curious.
Or is it a big, deep, dark secret like everything else?
No,
Who then?
Donna,
Really?
yeah.
Now, is that the same woman that when you were in our house, you told me you never wanted to hear her name spoken ever again?
No, I never said that, so, anyway. It
Carolyn.
doesn't matter. It
Carolyn, yes, you
doesn't-
did.
It doesn't matter. It's just, there's all this, and this negative stuff. We have had no one apply. I have called all kinds of people.
Did you ever
No
stop
one
and
wants-
think you look in the mirror and see how you guys operate? Maybe that's got something to do with it?
Oh, come on, we're in here, this is supposed to be a business meeting, so move on. We already are gonna go on to the next special
already
for the
moved on.
board and the treasurer. Wenzel rezone,
Yes.
plan commission,
We already gave
you
that.
recommend
Yes,
approval.
I already gave that in my report.
What is up to the treasurer about that vote? George?
Okay. You approved it, so I don't know, I had a little trouble. Tammy, can you kind of explain to me what it is that you're doing, just for my interest, please?
Sure. We obtained a property on County Road E that is north of where we currently are.
Yeah.
And with that property, we approached the surrounding landowner for a land swap. We had it surveyed and we discovered that his field was only maybe not even 20 feet off of our house. And the well is back there. So that raised concerns about pollution of the well, spreading liquid manure. And it, it would have all kinds of negative things. Well, we felt that it would be more beneficial for us to have the land behind our house, and he liked that because he would have a culvert access to the field for the rest of his property. So it was a mutual agreement that, that it would be a good thing for both of us. And we did request it to be residential.
Rural residential.
It's a rural estate,
Yeah.
a rural estate. And that we did so that with Gus being constable, if we wanted to continue to board the township's dogs when they get lost, we wouldn't be in violation of anything. We do that now. you know, for anybody, so they don't have to run all the way to Wausau, to Marathon County to get their dogs.
Okay.
So that was also a factor in asking for the rural estate. There's a slight increase in the land, will be at 6.1 acres, and that was just to kind of round everything off.
Okay.
Is there any other questions that
No,
can be
no,
answered?
so now, where you board the dogs now?
We're hoping to retire.
Oh, oh,
It's a dream.
you didn't have permission to do that. Okay.
Dorothy, is there a limit on the real estate
Pardon?
acreage? Real estate acreage, is that limited?
That's in compliance.
It is?
See, the
Is
real
that
estate
like
is bigger. It's over 5.
So it's 5 to
Yep.
15?
Yep.
Or- Okay.
So they would be in compliance.
Okay.
And it, like I said, and it really does not change the Seahafer if they take the farmland preservation, that we don't know, that's their business, not ours. But it does protect their wellhead.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the rezone, Wenzel, rezone.
I'll second it.
I have a motion second to accept the Wenzel rezone. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Approved. I believe there's paperwork we gotta sign on that.
Yep.
Before we leave tonight. Okay.
Will you fax that up to them at the county then, so that they get it right away?
I'm gonna email it, I don't know if we have a
Okay,
fax.
well,
I
whatever
don't-
works,
Yeah,
because, yeah, the last one, I got a call because they were waiting for it, and
alright, I appreciate you telling me, I'll get it done, I'll get it done before I leave tonight, or maybe tomorrow.
thank you.
Fire department purchase request?
Do you want me at the podium for these, or?
Yeah. You and John can kind of tag team this if it gets there.
All right. So air compressor, we are looking to replace that because our FEMA grant got denied for multiple reasons. Our Fall Fest last year, we raised money for an air compressor. We have about 17 to 20,000 to put towards it. So we would like to go ahead and do the purchase of the air compressor. You all have the quotes, the 2 quotes. One is Jefferson Fire and Safety. That's for a 10 horse. If you do the 10 horse, we have to rewire part of the fire station because they need more amperage. We prefer to go with the McQueen one, which is a North Shore. It's a 7.5 horse, and we don't need to do anything with the electric supply. That is perfect with what we have there.
Plus it's cheaper.
Yep.
So I contacted the Wisconsin Town Association regarding this, let's see. It was timely in the July 2022 magazine. It was talking about bidding and stuff. And so I asked them if we needed to bid this out, and the response was, if this item is going to be installed, so she said if it's a piece of equipment, then you don't need to bid it out. If it's going to be installed as a building feature, you will need to bid it out and do class 2 notice and go with the lowest responsible bid. So whether or not, so I asked her for clarification, how do I know what's equipment and what's a public contract? And she said, equipment is something that lasts a while and does not get used up on a project. She gave the example of a truck, a computer, a lawnmower, a photocopier, etc. You know, from her initial email back, I felt like this would be similar to a furnace. It gets attached to the building and not easily moved from place to place. It's not like we can take it over to the garage and use it for stuff.
And that's if the township pays $25,000 or more, correct?
Yeah, so that was, personally, I'd like to get clarification. I mean, they're a free resource, so.
So with that being said, with the fire department from Fall Fest donating 20,000, that only takes you to about 17,000 that the township has to kick in for this. So really, you don't need to bid it out then, because it's not over the 25,000.
Doesn't matter, it's the price.
I agree with your logic. I'd like to get it
You're ready?
somebody smarter than me to also agree with it. Because I'm not a lawyer, I can't argue that in court.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're donating money, it's the cost of it, not.
That would be my expectation too.
That's what it is.
The cost of the item.
Yeah, that would be my expectation.
Is that what the board so chooses to do? Is to bid this out?
Well, if you're certain that,
I'm only going off of what the WTA told me, you know, and because that's not, I wasn't able to interpret the state statutes well enough.
And the state statute doesn't give a clear definition of equipment.
Right, or a public
Or
contract.
public contract. It's all very vague. There's a lot of gray area in there. I agree with John on that because I researched this too. There's a lot of gray area. There's no specific definition of equipment in the state statute.
so who did you correspond with?
The Wisconsin Towns Association.
And so
Carol.
they're not gonna tell you what to do, but they're gonna tell you what statutes to go to, so then now what?
No, she told me, she said if it's going to be installed, this was verbatim out of her email.
Okay,
If it's going to be installed as a building feature, you need to bid it out and do a class 2 notice. If it's just equipment, you don't need to bid it out, and you can have the board vote to buy it. Let me pull up, so, on the,
What's that?
What did
We
we have?
budgeted 50,000.
How much?
50,000 for the compressor.
Where is that?
Capital
It
outlay.
was budgeted for 30,000, the rest was coming out of Fall Fest, wasn't it?
yes,
Was it? Okay.
Yes.
30?
Yeah.
You don't mind.
You guys, I'm not on the board, I gotta sit and tell you every damn thing.
57220. So, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities has a contract, FAQ, says, so FAQ number 2, what constitutes a public construction under the bid law? Let's see, it says, in past league opinions, the term public construction has been interpreted to include remodeling or renovating municipal buildings, municipal golf course expansion project, installation of fixtures in municipal buildings, repair to municipal buildings. League opinions have interpreted public construction to not include purchase of equipment or materials unless the materials are earmarked for a particular construction project, sandblasting and recoating the interior of a water tower, reseeding of a terrace which is not part of a current construction project, leveling and grading. I think, you know, frankly, it's a pretty gray area still.
Because our town ordinance corresponds with that, where equipment is exempt from the bidding process. But like John said, state statute trumps ordinance when there is a conflict in.
Yeah.
And in my opinion,
Is this our budget numbers?
a person could argue that this is equipment, but I'm not gonna argue it, because I feel that it's probably more towards public contract, but you might be able to find somebody that would argue that it's equipment, because it is capable to be moved, I imagine, it's not,
It's gotta be installed, it's not, a machine of that size isn't gonna be moved around.
yeah, no, that's why I'm saying that I wouldn't wanna argue that it's equipment,
No,
but
no.
you could probably find somebody, I'm sure you could pay a lawyer to argue it, but I don't know if there's a way. But I think that Lori's idea of seeing, you know, I'd like to get the opinion from WTA. I've got a thread with her that's, you know, 4 or 5 emails long, so I can come with this new information.
What would be the posting time on that?
It's a class 2 notice, so I think that's just 2 weeks.
Class 2 is one within 10 days or 14 days and one within a week, isn't it? It's 2 postings.
Let's see. It's in another packet. So the statutes just say all notices designated as class 2 notices require 2 insertions. I'm pretty sure that the purchasing thing, said once per week.
I have a quick question. Did you get a denial letter for the grant?
Yes.
John, I'd like to make an open records request. I'd like a copy of that.
Okay, for your safety and mine, I prefer it in writing.
I can make it verbal.
I'm aware.
Okay, so
But
I'm
then I
making a
don't have to
verbal
act on it
request.
because it's a verbal and it's not in writing.
Doesn't
You
have to
do,
be,
but-
it states that.
But you do have to act on it, but it's not actionable. So if it doesn't get fulfilled, Deb
I'll make
can't,
it quick
Deb
for you
can't
then.
sue
I'll
the
email it to you.
But that's
So
what I
you
said,
get-
for
you
your
get
safety and for
denial
mine,
via
I
email
would
or
prefer
how
an
do you get
email.
denial?
Actually, I got denied over the phone because I got called several times for incorrect information that I was given to put on the grant.
So did we get any written notification that we were excluded or denied?
As soon as they get done handing out all of the awards, we will get a letter, yes. But I did get confirmation that we were denied because of incorrect information I was given to put on the application.
Like what?
Our Sam's number was no longer active, our Dunn's number was no longer active, our unique entity identifier was not created, and that's something I needed for this that I didn't know.
Didn't they just change that this year though, Lord?
But we
I
had to
believe
have,
so.
but we had to have it for any FEMA grant we filled out.
But they just changed that this year and you applied for that in December.
It was supposed to have been done last year by April or June.
I think that was this year.
Nope, that was last year,
Okay.
and it was not done. I also found out that I was given incorrect bank information. I was given the stuff from Pioneer Bank, we no longer do with them, and I did not know that that's what that was.
Isn't there another AFG grant coming up in September?
Yeah, there is.
Okay. I applied for it. You got all your stuff down, right? Yeah?
But we need to get this compressor replaced now, because our air tests are becoming iffy when they come back. We just need to get it replaced, and we can't fill our current air bottles to the proper amount because the compressor won't go that high.
Is that the one in September, is that the same one we applied for last time?
Yes.
Yes, it is. And you can get your air bottles filled up at Marshfield right now for
For
a
a
temporary
charge.
period.
For a charge?
Yeah, what is it, $8 a bottle, you said? That's what you had.
Roughly, yes.
What would the town board like me to do with this?
Well, I think that if we're not gonna screw around, if we have to have a bid, put it out for bids, it's what we're gonna have to do. If we know for sure that, and you're pretty certain that's the way it is, from the Wisconsin Towns Association. That
That's my
25, if it's over
interpretation.
25,000, however, you know, it says in the state statutes, equipment, so are we sure that this kind of thing is,
Well,
Right.
the thing
I mean,
is-
you need
the other
to-
thing is we should specify if we want a 7.5 horse or a 10.
Already done, got it right here,
So-
got our specs written right here,
So why did they quote 10 then?
because that's all the bigger, that's all the smaller they sell. That's all the smaller they sell. They don't sell anything smaller than 10. But I had to be fair to both companies and get a quote from both of them.
okay? So, John,
Yeah, Yeah, so I'm saying that that's my interpretation
Okay,
of whether it's equipment or public contract. And Carol from WTA has her opinion, I'm sure. She won't give it to me, I'm sure. She didn't. She was
she
kind of
won't, they won't tell you.
vague, which is
They won't
fine.
tell you.
I think it's appropriate because, you know, at the end of the day, that's up for interpretation, you know, and a judge will decide whether it's equipment or whether it's public contract. I asked her, when in doubt, bid it out, is that a good mantra? And she said that would be wise. Because you can't get in trouble for bidding a contract that doesn't need to be bid, but you can get in trouble, I imagine, for not bidding a contract that was required to be bid. So a class 2 notice is weekly postings in consecutive weeks. So we would just post 2 weeks in a row, and then
Well, there's 30,000 in the budget, so I think we need to reapply for the grant to cover the difference.
But we're kicking, fire department's kicking in 20,000.
Well, I just think, well, you can do that too, but I think in the meantime,
We still gotta do this posting.
yeah, so I think you're
I
gonna
think the
have to
thing
put
that-
it out for bid.
I think that's gotta happen, but if it can be done, not necessarily for the next meeting, but our in-between meeting, we'll get there, if Lori can get clarification and get it in print or an email from them that we've actually been rejected, because the other fact out of it is, they now have all the correct information.
No, they
And-
don't. They stopped me at the unique entity identifier. They said, too much wrong on this. We're not gonna give you any more time to correct anything. I was shut down with the Sims and the Dums.
You could reapply for the new grant that's coming, correct?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can.
And when is that?
Not
September,
until September.
I went to in September.
But
Let's see,
But there again.
But it's gonna take time to get this posted and get
well, let's,
rebid.
yeah, but
But
let's,
the thing is you're not gonna wanna go down that bidding process if you would get the grant, you're not gonna wanna go down that process.
because you have to
Because you
take
have
the
to redo
low
it.
bid.
You have to do it all over again. So if we're gonna,
And for the grant, they may have to request all these quotes again all over because you can
Time
only
to do it.
request them for,
Well, it says right on, the cleans, the estimate expires on August 6th anyway.
correct.
So
So then this is gonna get put onto the FEMA grant that opens up in September?
Well, I think we gotta go through the formal process of bidding it correctly first. We gotta
And
start,
then-
we gotta start there.
Because we
and
do not have to accept them. If you think that,
So here's what the fire department would like in the newspaper.
oh, you already got this done.
I already got one for you.
Okay,
And there's one for Tom.
okay.
You guys wanna hear this? I'll just read it for you. It says the Millen Fire Department is requesting bids for the purchase of a breathing air compressor. The compressors to meet the following specifications. 1, compressor A, 6,000 PSI, 7.5 horsepower compressor with a CO monitor. B, mag starter. C, hour meter. D, auto drain. E, gauge panel and filter to process 24,000 cubic feet in sound surrounding cabinet. F, compressor hose 120 inches or 10 feet, 7,000 PSI with ends. Number 2, compressor 2-position fill station with 4-bank cascade control panel. Number 3, hose 72 inches or 6 feet, 6,000 PSI with ends need 2. Number 4, hose 96 inches, 8 feet, 6,000 PSI with ends need 2. Number 5 is hose 100 feet, 6,000 PSI with ends 6, compressor CGA-702, nut nipple JIC elbow lead 4. Number 7, 6,000 PSI storage cylinder, quantity of 4. Number 8, NFPA breathing air sample test kit includes A, lab testing of sample, and B, copy of test results upon completion. Number 9, in-service setup with training. All bids to be mailed to McMillan Fire Department, 113-901 Elm Tree Road, Marshfield, 54449. All bids must be postmarked by midnight, August 26th. Bids will be opened by the fire department at the monthly town board meeting on September 12th, 2022.
I think you need to change that because the town board is responsible for the bids. So you need to put Town of McMillan and those bids need to go to the clerk.
Clerk, yeah. Yep.
I think before we put this out for bid though, I'd like it in writing that they actually reject us.
That's just for the grant.
Right.
Either way, you still gotta bid it, that's gonna take time.
But you'll have to, if they have different quality. I guess I don't know.
It might say in the letter what why the denial, you know, what the requirements would be for the denial. Is that what you're getting at, Rod?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if it is those reasons, I mean, unfortunately, if it is those reasons, usually compressors or something, that's something that's a no-brainer. That for those guys, usually those pass through with no problem. And especially the age of our unit. And I'm sorry, but the township tax dollar wise are extremely tight. If we can find somebody to fund it through that, and I mean, it's better for the whole township.
John, you could help Lori with grant, can't you?
I'm sorry?
You could help Lori with the grant?
Sure.
Okay.
Make
The
sure
only
we
thing
we
that I
got-
don't wanna see though, I guess the only thing that I don't wanna see by pushing this on the grant, my other concern out of this though is also that the $30 that the community has,
30,000.
the 30,000 that they put forward and the fire department has put their 20 through to make this go, I don't wanna see any of that evaporate, because if the next cycle it does not make it through the F&G
You
grant,
got your backup.
we have
what
the
you're
backup
saying.
and then it's done.
Yeah.
Because I do feel that this needs to be done. It's just, I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow, but I think it's gotta go.
So then I ask the board right now to make a motion to approve the AFG grant opening in September, so I don't have to come and get 3 days only to do it.
Well,
I want advance notice, I don't want 3 days to do it.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we amend this to say turn the bids into the clerk and put it out for bid.
No, not yet.
No? Why not?
Well, first of all, she's gonna apply for the grant. You need to know what the grant specs are gonna be before you can put that out there.
I won't know any of that until beginning of September.
Yeah.
Well, but you can still get it, we can approve you applying.
You
for
can
it.
approve me applying, yes.
Yeah.
So
Then there's
that-
no question, when it opens, I can just get it started and get it done.
So you're saying the grant will have a restriction on this?
No,
No, no, no.
no.
It's just,
No, they won't have a restriction on you putting it out for bids, but they might have a restriction on what the compressor should be.
No, they don't.
They don't at all?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I-
Then I won't worry about it.
Right, that's why I thought we could do it in parallel.
Mhm.
We could receive the bids, you're gonna apply for the grant,
You
and we
make the
can
motion
decide
for
what
that.
we wanna do on this, because we'll have some idea on the cost.
So maybe
If the cost is under the 30 grand in the budget, then we could just say do it, when we get the grant, that just offsets the 30 grand, and we can just,
No, it's not.
No, that's not how that works.
You can't
If I-
purchase something and then use the
If
grant money.
if I apply for the grant, that's what the grant money has to be spent for. If we
Right.
purchase it now
When
and
is it?
replenish the fund,
You're
it
gonna
it
get-
doesn't work that way.
You'd probably
Yeah,
after
do
the
it that
first,
way.
you'd probably be
when
after
will
the
the
first
grant,
year.
when is that grant gonna be decided though?
Probably after the
Awarded?
first of the year.
Probably after the first of the year.
They're still awarding bids from last year.
Yep,
Yeah.
they award bids all the way until November, I think.
You might get a notice, a month after you send it in. You don't know.
We just have to make sure you get the correct,
I have,
whatever it is.
I
that-
have all the correct
You have
information
the-
right now, yes,
okay.
I do. I do.
Because that probably wouldn't have happened. had-
Correct, I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
was very
so,
helpful
Well, if we
about
choose
that.
to go that route, then that 30,000 within the budget won't be used for this.
right,
Correct.
If you get it,
If you get it.
then what do you do?
Don't you have to
because
show
at the end of the year,
when
if we still have not received the grant, I'd like to see that earmark then
there's no need?
to go to the
Well,
compressor.
But
Because
that's
we
in
can't
this
go
year's budget.
Right?
You're just gonna carry it over.
carry it over for
Carry it
next year.
over, yeah. Okay, so we need to make a motion to put this out for bids.
No,
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 we're gonna make a motion to apply for the grant.
Correct.
Okay,
This is,
First.
this is gonna die until that grant is
Okay.
either denied or received.
okay,
So this won't happen until January.
Right,
okay, so I'll make a motion to put this,
Apply for the grant.
apply for it.
That's
What is the grant called?
AFG.
Assistance to Firefighters Grant.
okay,
I'll second that.
A motion, a second to apply for the G grant for the compressor. Any further discussion? If there is none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Those against? Apply for the grant, please.
I'll do that. Again. All right, on to the turnout gear. We need to purchase 2 sets of turnout gear. We have 2 sets that are past their 10-year age. And we cannot wear turnout gear that is over 10 years old per NFPA standard. So that comes from Fire Safety USA. One coat is $18.20. One pair of pants is $12.90. We need 2 sets, so that is $6,200.
How much?
$6,200. And we have it in the budget, it comes out of 2% dues.
And then your 3 helmets.
And then our 3 helmets that are $315 a piece, I didn't add that one up. Give me a second.
$71.45.
What was that?
I think it's
315 times 3,
$71.45 total with the.
$945.
I'm gonna go with the turnout gear. How much of the 2% dues would cover all that, wouldn't it, Lauren?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, it will. We'll even have a little left to get some other stuff we need.
So there's like 10 grand in that account?
Yep.
Well, what was
52,
the, what was the actual check that we got, John? You mentioned that we got it back like last week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's in the bank, I mean, I can
Okay.
try and,
How
I
much
don't have
you
access
buy
to all
with
this stuff on
2%
hand, I'm
dues?
sorry.
If you don't use it all.
We gotta send it
lose
back.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's why I was asking, they got.
You gotta use it, or you don't get as much next year.
And you're right, Deb, that's $7,145 for 2 sets of gear and 3 helmets.
What was that number again?
$71.45.
Okay.
And then I also need POs for these 2 because they're over $250.
Can you send me a prior PO so I can,
So we don't pay for that until we.
prior purchase order, so that I have,
You do the purchase orders, John, in QuickBooks.
okay.
Those come from you.
No, I know,
Surprise.
but, no, I'm aware of what
Do
a
you-
purchase order is, I'm saying that the computer files is, they're
Oh,
messy, so.
I'll scan one and
If
send
you
it to
can
you.
send
so
me
you
one,
can-
then I kind of
Yep.
know what I'm looking
Yep,
to
absolutely.
recreate.
So for that, when does that pay out then? When do you have to pay for it when you receive it?
What's that for?
Yeah.
2%?
For 2% dues, we already have it in the account.
We
It's
got
already
the
there.
money for 2% due. That doesn't come out of tax dollars, that comes from the state, correct?
Correct.
Okay. They give us that amount of money, they use it for
Insurance companies.
certain things, okay?
Correct.
If they don't use it, they don't get as much next year.
Right.
All I'm saying is we got a $5,000 cushion in our checking account, this is 7 grand.
Right.
So is it coming out of our checking account?
No.
It won't be out of.
I'm not an accountant or a finance person.
Yeah.
That's not exactly about this
It's
market.
gonna come out of the checking account.
If they were really quick, but usually gear takes like 6
I don't wanna
months.
bounce-
Takes like 4 to 5 months to get turnout gear.
That's why you saw the
It takes at
bill
least 2 to
for
3
the
months
last
to get
set,
home.
All
that
money
set was
goes to the
ordered
checking
May last
Okay,
year.
I make a motion, we buy this stuff.
Yes, go for it.
And just one thing
Second.
before I leave, our emergency government the emergency management person, Phil Reitmeister, sent me a grant on hazardous materials preparedness, where we can apply for this and get the fire department and all the town board caught up on their ICS 100 classes, and also get our fire department all up to date on their hazmat ops for when we have a hazardous material incident here in the township. And all your town board members need your ICS classes anyhow, including you, John.
Okay, now I did it, so now how long is it good for?
Yours are
Forever?
fine. Yours are fine.
Yours are fine.
Yours are fine. It's getting everybody else caught up to speed.
What it is, basically, it tells you chain of command that goes through.
Correct.
I did incident command training 20 years ago on.
And the computer stuff is fine, but it's very boring and mundane.
That was a
But
long
if we
time
can
ago.
do a grant,
You
you
got
get
a
an
certificate, you're
in-person.
good.
Probably somewhere, I have no idea where I put it, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We should stop.
Okay. All right.
So we're gonna give her permission to apply for that grant with Steve?
You guys got a motion on the table to approve your year first, you gotta vote on.
Oh,
Motion.
sorry, I thought that
Yeah, I would
was
say.
motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay.
Sorry, I jumped ahead, my bad.
Not going near the deal.
Now, grant. If we can get an in-person instructor, it's much more easier to swallow than sitting on the computer for 2.5 hours listening to videos, and in-person instruction is way better for this ICS stuff than it is online.
Does Brian Hopperkinsel still do that?
It would be whoever the state picks to teach it.
Okay.
How
'Cause I know he used to teach.
Yep, I know, yep.
How long a class is that? 4 hours? 8 hours?
No, they shorten it right now.
No, the first one I think is maybe like 3 hours. The second one might be the same. When you get into the really long ones, you're getting into the ICS 300 and 400. Those are really, really, really long ones. And those are the two that board members need to take, but you can't take those
So
until
this
you
is
get.
just classroom instruction, it's not an actual drill?
No, just
Right.
classroom instruction.
It's just this.
Because I actually went through the drill.
No.
No, it's just classroom instruction. Then when you're done, you'll be up on your ICS classes. And the town clerk, when he takes them, they will give him a packet of forms for if we have a major incident that need to be filled out for FEMA to keep track of things.
Then it'll be opened up to other people in
Yep.
other places too, so
It will.
it won't be just us taking it.
Okay.
So the way it looks to me, the only one taking it is gonna be Tom.
No, John needs it, the new person needs it. We've got people over by us that need it yet, and I'm sure there's a couple of fire departments from the area who still need it.
So do you need anything from us for that?
Just
Nope.
okay to do it.
Just okay to do it, it's no funds out of our pocket. It's all federal funds.
Okay. Anything else from you?
Did you guys motion pass
You
this?
need to make a motion so she can apply for that grant.
So I make a motion that you apply for the ICS grant.
And it has that.
And hazmat.
And hazmat.
Yeah, it's two different, same place, but two different.
Hazmat and
Two separate grants.
Incident command system.
Incident command system.
But it's all through the county, through the
And hazardous material grant, there's 2 of them
Mhm.
for training.
Incident command system?
Incident command system, incident command structure. They're kind of interchangeable.
Motion to approve or apply for the incident command system and hazmat grants,
Yes.
training grants?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You got a second?
You know, you can do a second too.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay, here you go.
Any further discussion? Since there is no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against?
Do
Five
you
for
want
that one.
to-
Okay, am I free to go? Am I-
Yep.
You're good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Last thing on the agenda is the planning commission report to the board for the packet. Now, we've been going over this and going over this and going over this. I'm not looking for, I mean, this is the board here. If you guys decide you want to table it too, we can do that, but what I'm looking for is exactly basically what the fire department does, is just a quick synopsis of what happened at their meeting. I'm not looking for minutes. Minutes are not the deal. I don't expect whoever is doing the stuff for them to spend a long period of time at it. It's just a quick deal of, this is the person that we're doing a rezone on, or whatever it is. This is what we came up with kind of as concerns, but we passed it. Or we didn't pass it. We approved it, or we didn't approve it, or whatever.
I got a quick question. If you're gonna require the report, then you're not requiring Dorothy to be here.
No, she doesn't necessarily have to be here.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, because, I mean, she's always come in and given the report.
But
So,
also,
I mean,
when she gives the report, and I appreciate the report, and I don't necessarily want you to stop doing that, because then you're here to answer questions to the board members that maybe your report didn't fill through. But it also gives us, hopefully, we can get Thursday and Friday to try to get our reports out from John. And that way, if we have, say if the person or whatever that's in question, we want to call them personally and ask them a couple of questions, we can do so. Or any research that we want to do prior to the meeting, we can do the research on
You
it.
can anyway.
Does that, well, I mean, like I told you guys, it's a full board decision, not just one person. But our ordinance also states that one board member is supposed to be at the plan commission meetings.
At all times.
At all, you know, and they used to be the ones that gave the
The
report.
report. And it was put in there for that specific reason, because it was John Bajelski that was, you know, in charge of the plan commission years ago. And he wouldn't come to the meetings, so nobody knew what the hell was going on. So then it was put into the ordinances that a supervisor had to go to the plan commission meetings, okay, and then report back to the board. That's the way it was. Since that time, Dorothy has always showed up at the meetings, so the supervisors never had to go to the plan commission meetings. So she overstepped her bounds by
Whatever the board
coming in.
decides, that's fine with me. I'm sure it's fine with any of the other commissioners also.
It's just easier to have a kind of a synopsis
How do
for
you
us.
get these things when they come out?
The rezones,
Yeah, and that stuff.
I have to get that from the clerk because they do not come directly to us.
So really, it should be the clerk that's also making us aware that something went to you. To me, that's probably the best avenue to be aware of it before it comes to.
Well,
Before it even goes to the plan
but-
commission.
Right.
But the point is that it's
That
easier,
makes sense,
rather
John.
than having to go through all of this stack of papers
Yeah.
for each
Well,
one
okay,
to,
for
so,
tonight, I really see no reason that, John, you have to put in the whole rezone thing for everybody out in the audience street. That is something that belongs with the plan commission and with the board.
And that's what
So
he did, basically.
you can save yourself a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, I made probably 15, 20 copies of the total, of the main
Yeah.
portion, and then 5 for interested people. And
But, you know,
I sold out of those. I did send this, let's see, this Wenzel rezone
when's the rezone?
was sent to all the town supervisors and all of the planning commission on Monday, July 18th at midnight. I received
And I
it.
think I requested if you just put one copy in the mailbox out here, I will make the copies for the
It's in
planning
the office
commission.
back there, John.
Didn't
Dorothy doesn't
I
have a
put those in there,
printer.
right?
I'm not gonna buy a printer.
No, but I put those in there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it works fine.
But yeah, I mean, I can send this up to all the people.
You're supposed to. The board is supposed to get it, the plan commission's supposed to get it.
Yep, so this was the only one that
It's
I got.
particularly important when you have a subdivision that comes up, because that's a big deal.
Well, everybody
Well,
knows
it's a big
off-
deal.
right off the way.
for all of this, because it's always piles of papers for each case, you know, and that's why it's just easier, it would be easier, and I think
You guys got
that's,
really hammered though with that subdivision, because we didn't have that. We got the rezone, that's all we got.
yeah.
The
it's
rest of
just-
the
yeah.
crap came after you guys were on board.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's just easy to have a synopsis. I mean, it's already, you already have a report here. So when you give that, you know, it's easy to say, okay, you've got your report, your
Yeah,
little
right,
synopsis. and that's what, you know,
Like
makes
I
it easy.
said from day one, when I contacted the Towns Association, it is a board decision. And whatever the board wishes.
Yeah, well, that's
it's
what
a
we're
board
saying.
decision.
It is on the agenda for reports, and that's part of the report. That's part of the report, and so we're all doing it.
No, you're not.
Not all,
I didn't see
not
one.
all of us, but some.
I didn't see yours written in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I said, most of us, not all of us.
Nothing from the library.
Yeah, it's just so much easier, so that you don't have all of this piles and piles of papers, so to do it, if you do it, you know, with my report, I didn't write it up this time, I was, because I got mine.
Let everybody else.
Huh?
I said, shame on you, but yet you want to dictate to everybody else.
Right, well, I have been writing it, but I had it written out here, so, anyway.
I think we table it till we have a full board.
Okay, so, whatever.
10 to 10.
Yes, exactly, if that's what you want to do, fine.
But I think that
Yeah,
that's
vote on that.
worthwhile.
Diet motions or what?
Motion to
I want to
table,
kill this one.
Is there a motion out there?
No.
motion to table until next meeting.
Yeah.
Motion to table till next meeting.
Second.
Need a second?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Table till next year.
Motion
Till next meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
For a marathon.
Motion to adjourn.
I gotta be back.
I second that.
I know.
Any discussion?
I'm bringing donuts.
Are you
Those in
buying
favor?
lunch?
I'm
Aye.
buying breakfast, I'm bringing donuts, okay?
Hey, John,
You want me to roll it tomorrow?
Oh, no, I'm gonna cut it. You need to give me a bill, but how much do I have to wait?
No, it took me 4 hours. Everybody charged $50 an hour.
So $200? Okay.
you know how to do it,
I will see about getting this.
do them that way.
I really appreciate it.
I did it all. I didn't do all the orchards, but
But it didn't more than we expected.
I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass, I'm
So, yeah, it, no, that was, it was good.
the sheep go right into it. There it is.
Right back, I'm finally figured it out.
They're big.
Exactly what I did. Well, first I called her, and I asked how to get a hold of you. And she goes, what's going on? I said, the sheep are out. Well, then I was thinking, waiting for her. So I just went over and opened up the gate, and they walked right in. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good sheep. Then I'm looking all over my truck for another rubber stamp, because there was only one on that one side.
Yeah, the problem, they're done with the box of rocks. So the one thing they can always
Yeah, and as soon as I, like, walked away from them, they were pushing on the gate again. I ended up buying one, follow me from one end to the other.
Oh, yeah, there's
He walked right up in the grab. When I went to and then I worked my way back and get over the center. But he followed me all the way down. And every time I'd be around and around and every time I'd be around. And I finally had a note from the doctor, but I never had that.
you know, who's in charge? Yeah, we've got somebody else, white ones out there.
A couple of my
Let me get this stopped.
friends.
Yes, sir.